please. This is another Absolute Sabers live stream.
And hello there.
What up, boys?
What up,
going,
boy?
gents?
Pretty well. What's going on? What is going on? Apologies for the slight lateness. We're missing a couple. I'm sure they'll be around at some point shortly.
Rude of them not to show up.
They'll be around. I am positive that what am I trying to do here? There we go. I am positively positive that they'll be around shortly. But other than that, good evening, everyone. Mark, Adrian, how we doing? Apologies for last week, guys. That's apologies extended to everyone, including in the room. I had some shit go down, and it required
I brought my laptop, my camera, and my mic with me on my work trip just so I could stream.
You should have gone live for no reason, dude, at that point.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it.
I would have joined. I was free.
Absolutely, you should have. But I had some stuff go down that required my full and undivided attention last week. So I did think about doing the stream, but I mentally fatigued last week. Didn't even watch episode 3 until yesterday. So that's kind of where I was at. So,
Yeah.
But
With what went on, you needed the time.
Yeah. I mean,
Damn, are we talking about episode 3 too?
Yeah, sorry guys.
Oh shit, I forgot. Hold on. Let me remember. I remember what happened.
Went on. There we go. And with what went on, obviously, this week as well, I need this. I need my friends. Speaking of friends, here's another one.
There he is.
All right, guys, that's the end of the show. Have a great. Oh, hey, Elvis.
Hey guys.
What's up, brother?
I mean, Mr. Coffis, what time do you call this?
How we all doing?
Oh, I'm only joking, bro. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
One
not
of those
happy
days.
being the only clean-shaven one here.
What's
I don't
up?
have much, so you're fine.
I suppose we better feed the ducks, guys, because if we're not feeding the ducks, then this isn't a real stream. Come on.
That's true.
God. How you doing, man? You good?
Me, I'm doing okay. Yeah, I've been busy. A lot
Yeah.
of work stuff.
We can leave that. This is a place of zen and peace and happiness.
It is?
Apparently, I don't know. It might not be in the next hour.
There's going to be some chaos.
Hey, guys, episode 4 is great.
That seems to be the overriding. I don't know. Maybe some people.
The last 15 seconds were great.
Who do we have in this? We got Adrian.
Is it weird? I actually kind
Hello?
of liked episode 4. Parts of it.
Mark?
And some things. I don't know.
What
Yeah.
are we discussing?
So
Well-
are we talking about episode 3 also? Or?
I've taken the liberty of some talking points.
Do we
And
have
one of the talking points, I think one of the major talking points of last week was obviously how the twins became to be in existence. So the question I have for you, gentlemen, is: does
Yes.
the witch's coven ruin Anakin's story?
We don't know yet.
Chris is straight in like, yes.
We need more context. You know what I mean? But the problem with needing more context is the insinuated already that what they've done. So currently, it does take away from Anakin at that point. You know what I mean? Unless later down, like 2 episodes in, oh, this is what really happened. I'm like, oh, then why'd you even mention it like that in the first place? There wasn't at that point. There was no point in mentioning it. You know what I mean? But it's just like, I don't know. I don't.
But how does
This-
it wreck Anakin?
It's the idea that they use what? So the thing is like
But
obviously
he's not the
witches have-
chosen one because of immaculate conception. He's the chosen one because of a prophecy, right? So why
Yes.
can't other people be created through the Force?
I don't know. Maybe I just don't like it.
Well,
I mean, I'm
here's the
fine.
question.
I will say this. I will say this. Like, so far in the past 4 episodes, I don't love the show. I don't hate the show. There are things about it I don't like, but I am thoroughly enjoying the show because this is what I've been saying since episode 1. Looks like Star Wars, sounds like Star Wars, but for some reason it's not Star Wars, right? So we got 2 out of 3 already there. So
Yeah.
I'm very open to some things. The last episode, like one of the big issues, episode 4, people were talking about, I'm actually okay with it, to be honest. Like episode 3, the whole idea of, she says, I created her, and she goes, well, I carried her, or carried them. And I'm like, okay. So now we're just creating people?
But here's
That's
the
where it's
question,
kind of-
though, right? Here's the question, and here's the context that we're all requiring, right? The way that in which Anakin was created was the midichlorians were manipulated to create life. Is this the same thing? Was it midichlorian based, or was this like Night Sister magic or something? Do you see where I'm coming? What angle I'm coming
Yeah.
at there?
And that's
For
something.
all we
it's
know,
funny,
they
me and
use
Elvis-
IBS.
Elvis and I had this conversation too, where I told him where Palpatine's seduction to Anakin
Yeah.
created, to create balance for that, you need to create the twins, right? So what's going to be the effect of you creating 2 twins? Is it you're going to create 2 twins, one's evil, one's bad? You know what I mean? It's kind
I
of.
mean, if they're gonna say this caused an imbalance in the Force, then yeah, fuck that. Like, then I'm done.
Yeah. I would
it's the
say
same
something.
story.
The Force created it. Force created it. Why?
Yeah.
Well, why though? That's, you know what I mean? And so that's where it's kind of like, we understand the reason why Luke and Leia were born, why there was twins, to create balance, because of the seduction of Anakin. That's understandable, right? Because it's all about balance. But if you're just going to say, yeah, we're just going to create these 2 twins. Okay. For why? Story. That doesn't make, why would you do that? It doesn't really make sense. I'm open to the idea as long as it makes sense. And so far, it doesn't make sense.
This show has done a very bad trend of just throwing stuff out there and not giving us answers and having us all debate about it. And I have a feeling that everything that we decide is going to be wrong. And they're just going to do something completely stupid that no one expects. And it's just going to make us mad.
Let's pretend for a second you haven't made The Mandalorian, The Rise of Skywalker, The Book of Boba Fett. Let's pretend you don't make those kind of shows. Let's just say you are a network executive and people are pitching shows. And we have a show that has a lot of intrigue and mystery, and it gets everyone talking and coming up with theories and having after party shows, and everyone in the world is talking about this show right now. I'd say they're doing a pretty damn good job. Like, looking at it from
You're 100% right.
TV show
Yeah.
perspective. Not a Star Wars
You're
perspective,
100%
but like,
right. You're 100% right. Because
So-
Mandalorian season 3, people are like, oh, that was a shit season. But guess what? Everyone is still talking about Acolyte from that first episode and into the second and the third. And the
This
fourth.
is the
Everyone's
thing
coming
about-
back every week talking about it.
What a lot of people are talking about, just this isn't particularly my Star Wars, right? Whatever that means. But it's one of those ones where we look back at Mando season 1. It was a friggin' space western. It wasn't necessarily okay. It was set in the Star Wars universe, but can you truly say, "Oh, that's Star Wars"?
Yeah.
Based on season 1, you could in a way on completion, right? But if you look at the first half of the series, you're like, well. And this is what I just don't get right now. Like, people are forming opinions based on half a series without knowing all the information. If we have these glaring plot holes after 8 episodes, say what you want.
yeah.
I think people are going too hard on this. Like, I get it, understand the whole thing with Anakin and whatnot, and his story. I don't think we have all the facts yet. and until we've got all the facts, I'm not going to form an opinion, really on it. Is it a little bit suspect? Is it a bit suspect? Yeah, okay, yeah, it's a little bit suspect, And the question, like you just said, Chris, why have they created these twins? Did they intend to create twins? Was it just a happy accident? No pun intended. But there are some questions there.
They can't reproduce, so they needed to create someone to carry on the covenant, right? That's why they created the twins. Got to be.
And the thing too is like, Star Wars is plagued with plot holes.
Oh,
plagued.
Yeah. Always has been.
And so I mean, at this point, if we keep getting more plot holes, and then, I could sit here and complain like, oh my god, another plot hole. Like, this show sucks. Okay. So what about the plot hole that everyone keeps getting stabbed in the stomach, but Qui-Gon had to die?
Yeah.
We can keep coming up with more and more and more and more, but we're complaining about a current show that has plot holes when there's plot holes in all the other movies.
And if you like Elvis said, if you strip everything back, and not even if we like, I get where you're coming from, Elvis, in terms of pretend we didn't get this, pretend we didn't get that. But even if we just, don't do that and just look at the Acolyte individually and stand alone as its own show, right?
Oh yeah, if Star Wars wasn't a thing and this was just a show, it'd be an amazing show.
It's entertaining.
But everyone has preconceived notions of what it needs to be.
And this is the problem. It's the preconceived notions. Like, people, we are so far down the Disney path now, right? And people still have these wicked expectations. It's like, okay, it's reasonable to have expectations in terms of continuity, and can we really have expectations anymore on what is canon and what is not canon? Because it just seems to change all the time.
Thing, though, is everything that's not canon anymore is no longer canon now, as it was when it was released.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like Legends, it's not canon anymore.
Yeah, it's gone.
You can, and I noticed that they're doing this here and there. You can take pieces of Legends and bring it to reality to make it canon, right? But not everything that was in Legends is canon now. So that's really all like the story writers can really come up with, is like, all right, let's kind of pull pieces from Legends or this arc to create our own story. That's understandable. And that's the hard part about being a Star Wars fan, is it's true. We all complain about certain things, or like how you said, this is not my Star Wars, but let's be honest, this is 100 years before Empire. So in reality, this isn't our Star Wars at all. This is a whole new story.
This is no one's Star Wars. Exactly.
It's but not as well, anything, you know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying I don't love the show. I don't hate the show, but I am trying to still continue to have it. I'll complain about it for a couple of days after watching it. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, but then as I sit and I digest, like Elvis, he had to digest episode 1 and 2 for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And after every episode, I still have to digest that episode and be like, all right, let's look at it with an open mind and see if we can find some positive out of it. I found some positive out of it, but there's still a lot of hate. And I mean, it is what it is.
The worst part for me isn't the show, it's the people.
Yes.
Like so I'm sure we're going to talk about the show, but like, the Plo Koon looking character, right? Will of the Force did a post, explaining who it was or whatever. And I left a comment on it. And I said, I just don't understand why we would put a character that looks exactly like Plo Koon in the episode right after giving us Coyote Mundi. And immediately, oh yeah, because he's the only Pong Krell or whatever his name, or not Pong. What's his species? Keldor? Like Keldor. He's the only Keldor. Yeah, okay. We can't have any representation. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about representation? Like, no.
I actually have
Keldor's everywhere. I don't give a damn.
Well, we'll come to that shortly, mate. I do have that as another point. So hold that for 2 minutes, right? Please.
But the point is that I had 5 people slam some hate towards me. Yeah. And I'm like, I wasn't,
You know what?
I wasn't even saying what you think.
I'm gonna
I'm
message
saying.
you. I'll message you right now and say, "What? You can't have more than one? That's messed up, bro."
Somebody wrote, yeah,
What are you,
there's a
racist against
character in the
Keldors?
cantina in A New Hope that looked exactly like Darth Teberus. What's his name?
Tenebrous.
Tenebrous. Yeah, what a crazy world. I'm like,
That's just the reason I've made a point to bring this point up as well, because there's been a lot of shit surrounding that, and you clearly have been subjected to that. You know,
it makes me not want to do anything. It make like even this show, like I don't even want to talk about the show anymore because I'm so sick of people.
Yeah, I you know what? I feel you on it. I do feel you on it, real big time. Going
And
back
the show's
quickly,
totally iffy for me. I just want to be able to finish it.
going back quick to what Chris was saying there about pulling stuff from Legends and whatnot. They've been doing that for a long time. Remember the whole Revan thing that Filoni came out and said where they shot for Clone Wars for the show. It was made, it was shot. They were going to pull that from Legends into Canon, and then they stopped it. They didn't. So I get it.
Yeah, and then
You
they
know,
used
there's-
Bane instead, didn't they?
Correct. Yes, it was the scene with Yoda. Right, so they've been. It's not really new. They've been doing this for a long time, pulling snippets and stuff from EU and Legends and chopping and changing what is canon, what's not, just to suit them and their story. It's not new, you know.
They've even done that with some of their own canon that they came out. Timothy Oliphant's character in The Mandalorian, I can't remember his name. He was originally in one of the books, and he had a completely different story, and then they changed it for The Mandalorian.
Which they're doing all the time now, you know. In terms of episode 3, though, because we're going to skip over episode 3 because it wasn't exactly a banger. It was more just kind of background and stuff regard to the twins. And in all honesty, for me, an entertainment factor wasn't the best. It was good infotainment in terms of the information and the background on the twins and the Coven and all that kind of stuff, and the flashbacks with Indara and Saul and Kilnaka and the Jedi Torben that were there, and as to why potentially, you know, May's after these Jedi. Here's a thought, which I'll save that till later on because I've got a really good theory.
All I want to know is why Toman Baratheon killed himself when all he did was take a damn blood sample.
Guilt is a strange thing. A
Well,
lot
we're
of people
clearly
end up
going to
dead.
see a fight between Kelnaka and Torben when Torben's possessed, because we've seen that in the trailer where Kelnaka is like coming down swinging at Torben.
Yeah.
So there's a whole nother episode to episode 3 that, you know, we'll get at some point, hopefully. And Sir PB pointed out the director of episode 3 is also the director of episode 7, so I bet it's going to be episode 7.
Apart from obviously the backstory with the girls, is there anything you guys took from that episode?
It's toxic as fuck. Oh, sorry.
The Jedi are Child Protective Services.
Oh, yeah. So in the High Republic, people were allowed to practice other Force religions, and near the end of the High Republic is when they're like, no, you can't teach kids. They're gonna be ours now. Our way's the only way. And so the episode establishes that this is the change of the High Republic into what we know as the Republic, and stealing kids, not allowing other Force users to, continue. They have to only do things the Jedi way. So I think it established some of that, other than just the backstory of the twins. And these 4 people were stationed on Brendock. So were they literally there just watching this coven in case they start teaching kids someday? Like,
they kind of gave that impression because they knew the Jedi were watching them.
Yeah.
There's going to be something with the moons or whatever they are up in the sky.
When they joined together and they created the mark on her forehead.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's got to be more to that. And I'm sure we're going to keep getting different what's it called? The beginning of the show, you know, that title screen when it says Acolyte. You know how like Andor slowly changed every episode. And Book of Boba, we finally got the whole song in the last episode where we finally said "Fett," you know, in the music. And I have a feeling we're gonna get that with Acolyte. Like it's gonna continue this moon thing, and it's gonna, you know, make more sense in the end. But
like the alignment, everything lining up. Yeah.
Also, super curious about what they live in. Is it a machine? Is it a stone temple? Like what? Like it's got elements of everything. So, like, is it the dark side, or is it like a mechanical plus dark side that helped create the twins, or something like? I'm curious, what was all the stuff blowing up for a coven that seems to just be living off the land almost? You would think, but there's all this electronic stuff that blows up later, like they're blowing up the Death Star, you know, and Lando shoots the inside of the Death Star, right? Like
massive power generators and things like that.
So I'm curious what that's all about, but yeah.
I think in episode 7, because we said it's the same director, we're gonna get a not first person, but we're gonna get a view of not just May, but we're also gonna get Soul, because May was very a part of episode 3, to where we saw the twins together the majority of the time. So you can't dedicate an entire episode to just May because you already know where she was during points of that episode. But points of the episode, whenever she locked Osha in the room, maybe the moment Soul starts running up to their where they live. You know, it's going to all come together, and we're going to now know all 3 stories. But I think at that point, we should know exactly why May wants to kill all these Jedi.
And why everyone in the Coven is dead, because that didn't make any sense.
Yeah. They didn't have slash marks on them either.
I've got a theory about that, but I'll save it till we're on to a similar subject. Moving on to episode 4. Obviously, there's been a lot said about this episode for the wrong reasons. No Kun. Why is the Keldor Jedi we see not Plo Koon?
He's the right age, right? At that point.
It would be.
Because it's not a 100. Here's the thing I keep seeing on TikTok and everything. They said, "Oh, there's no way." Well, I'm gonna bring him up now. Kiara Mundi, whatever. He can't be alive. It's 100 years before episode 1. It's not. It's 100 years before the rise of the Empire. So in reality, you're thinking 80, 85. But
then Wikipedia changed it. Like straight after the episode, it went from canon, the legends, to canon.
Yeah.
You know, it was like 93 BBY.
Which again, when it comes to canon and not canon, we all know now legends is no longer canon. Yeah. And it's tough because it is information that's been out there for how long, and now you have to retcon that and now think of a new timeline.
But
why that wasn't Plo Koon? That should have been. Looks just like him. Yeah.
And this is the thing as well, you know, like Elvis makes a comment on something and he gets fucking jumped on. And it's like, well, wait a minute. You know, we've just had Kiara Mundi. We'll get on to him shortly. But, you know, why feel the need to just have the same species but not have it be him? Because it's just the right amount of familiarity, right? We were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, like not having full-blown, you know, active roles within the series, but having some like background stuff, pretty much the same way it was during the prequels, where they were just kind of like background characters, but they were slightly active. You know, why not have that? Because they are around. You know, why piss everyone off? Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty pissed off with that. Like, yeah, I get it. It's not the only member of that species to maybe represent and be a Jedi, fair enough. But when you look at the timeline and you look at where we are, it doesn't make any sense not to have it be Plo Koon.
It should have been him.
It should have been.
And when you think about it like this, at the end of Mando season 2, they said the entire time it wasn't going to be Luke, it was going to be Plo Koon. There's concept arts already done. Who knows what could have been done for him? The mask could have been done for him. Everything that we see this character wearing in the show, they could have been like, hey, we're going to put Plo Koon in the show. We in the archives of what we created for Mando season 2, we already have that. So why don't we just reuse it? And now this is Plo Koon.
Or they just reused all the stuff they already made and said, "Oh, let's just
Yeah.
make them a different
Yeah,
character."
we're just gonna create another character, but we're gonna use old stuff to reuse for Plo Koon, and we're just gonna use that. That sucks. But
least
the idea
have-
of it being Plo Koon should have been him.
At least have some discernible differences, though. I mean, it looks identical. Like, surely that species has some, very prominent differences in terms of identity and visibility and
Like,
looks.
I wanted her to be black. Like, let's really differentiate them. We need like Black Chrysanthemum versus Chewbacca or something. You
Yeah,
can really tell it's
right.
not the same movie.
I
Right?
will say, however, to kind of counter why they look the same, there were 3 Rhodians in the original trilogy that looked exactly, or 2 other Rhodians that looked exactly like Greedo,
That's fair.
I mean, that's fair enough.
like wearing the same tracksuit and everything.
But what sucks
I'm
about
all
the-
for
Go ahead.
having Keldor's in, right? I'm all for it. I just find it to be a confusing cameo. It's a cameo that causes confusion, and I just don't understand why. Like, wouldn't you want to avoid confusion? But then when they gave him a name, I thought, oh, maybe something's going to happen. Maybe this character is actually going to have lines. Like, maybe this is going to turn into like the cool character of the show. Like, it could go any direction. So I'm not like screaming about it. It seemed confusing. So like, why confuse me? Other than you've been trying to confuse me this whole damn time so far.
It would have been so cool for it to be Plo Koon, because again, with the whole Mando season 2 thing, and then in Andor we saw that his mask as a prop in the collector's place or whatever.
Yeah.
And now you're bringing in this character who could have been Plo Koon, and you didn't make it Plo Koon. I'm like, oh, you bastards! Like, you know what I mean? It almost felt like it was setting up for him to come.
Here's the thing as well. We know Plo Koon is Dave Filoni's favorite, character in Jedi. Dave Filoni signed off on all of this. He was given everything. He signed off on it all. He left production notes and things. We know that. What gives? Surely he would have went.
I don't know. I saw an interview with him that he said he's not going to hold people's hands. He said from the interview I saw that he was told from, I think George Lucas said to him, use your instincts. I'm not going to hold your hand. Just use your instincts. And he's doing that same thing with everybody just below him. He's not going to say he's not going to hold their hand. He's just going to say, use your instincts. And unfortunately, those instincts didn't.
Well, but you're talking about continuity versus storytelling. And when he made that comment, he was talking about storytelling, I think. Where he's like, she has this vision of making it this certain way or whatever. And I think he's encouraging people's storytelling. But I don't think he's like, make your own shit up.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing, because remember, half the writers never even saw Star Wars.
But they had continuity experts.
That's where it kind of gets tied up to where there's a lot of issues.
Be a consultant on every show because he knows his shit.
Well, there is a continuity expert for Lucasfilm. There is an actual guy that works on every show and every movie, and that's his job, is to not break canon, basically.
This is the thing. Yeah, you go with your instincts when it comes to storytelling, but they need to remember it's a huge story. It spans back over 50 years. There's a lot to it. And they really have to do that with continuity in mind. And if something isn't right, it shouldn't be because of the opinion of someone. It should be because of the continuity states that it isn't right. Fair enough. If they just wanted another Keldor, cool. But given the timeline, it just doesn't make sense for me. It just doesn't make sense for me. Hood, Star Wars has been murdered. Dude, get out of here with that shit. No, it hasn't.
There's still plenty of good Star Wars out there.
Yeah, listen, this is the thing. And plus,
plenty of bad Star Wars too.
Yeah.
Just saying, guys. Come on now.
Not everything in Legends was great either.
Also, as well, you have to remember this, right? In 10 years' time, there will be 3 main camps of Star Wars fans, right? There will be the OG fans who will be on their way out, right? I'm talking about people who were back 60s, 70s, who were like in their 40s and 50s back then, right? There'll be the prequel fans who will then be in their 40s and 50s, people who grew up with it, right? Exactly. Yeah, I'll be in my mid 40s, right? I'm in that camp. And then there will be the sequel fans who will be in their 20s and 30s, right? You look at those three eras of
Might
the
have a
world.
fourth group of show fans.
There's a
versus-
fourth
yeah.
group. I was about to say, there's a fourth
Yeah,
group. There's a fourth
exactly,
group. Yeah, I was waiting.
Right. But you look at those three. Let's take the three trilogies, for example. You look at those three eras of the world, where the world was in the 70s and 80s, late 90s, early 2000s, and then when the sequels came out. Three very different eras of the world and things that were going on. Also, as well, three very different generations of storytellers. Three very different points of views on a lot of things. So, to the people who want stuff to be all the same, it's impossible because you haven't got the same minds working on the same stuff since 1976, right? And that's the thing that I take away. It was actually my dad that said this to me because I think when was it? Last year at one point, we were talking about Star Wars briefly, and he said that to me. He said, "Well, you can't have the same minds working on the same stuff for 60 years because they were in their 40s and 50s 60 years ago, right?" And it's like, right, cool. That's a fair point. So I think there's a lot of influence in terms of where we are in the real world, which is then put into the projects that we're seeing, and we just have to accept that because that's just life and that's the way it is. The biggest one being, and a lot of people have had a lot of things to say about it, the so-called lesbian space witches. So what? So what? But I do get it. When it comes to continuity, yeah.
I don't care that there's lesbian space witches. Their story just was kind of garbage.
I mean, it's a big universe, guys. It doesn't even have to be a story. There could be lesbian space witches in our own universe, and we haven't met them yet. Like, come on now.
Yeah. I've got two that live next door. It's fine. Like, what's up, Tim? How you doing?
I have one right here. Where is he? Sam, that way.
Space witches?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was promised a show about the Sith. We weren't promised a show about the Sith. This is the thing. We were promised a show about. We were promised a show about an acolyte, and we're getting a show about an acolyte. One thing I will say to y'all is, I told you guys weeks ago, wait for episode 5.
Yep.
I'm gonna be mad if
wait for
episode 5 is a flashback and they don't continue the fight.
No, it's a continuation. 4 and 5 were filmed together. 4 was made shorter because of time restrictions, and 5 had to be longer.
Okay.
Right? And that is a direct quote from a producer.
All right.
So there we go. Wait for episode 5. Promise, trust me on this one. Okay?
I will say one thing about episode 4. It was the first time I'm saying this about the show that I hated. We're 4 episodes in? So we have 2 episodes of May wanting to kill the Jedi. Okay. Then there's episode 3. She's angry as a child, right? And then we have the first half of episode 4. She wants to still kill the Jedi. And then what's the guy? The dude's name, the Asian guy,
Khmer.
Yeah, they're walking together to go kill the Jedi. She said, and he goes, "We need to hurry." She goes, "If I'm going to battle the Jedi's right now, I can't use so much energy." He goes, "Okay, I'm gonna run ahead of you." He runs ahead. Let's say he's gone for 2 hours. He comes back 2 hours later. She's like, "You know what? I don't want to kill them anymore."
Yeah, that was a really quick turnaround.
What happened? What changed?
I think the conversation there, right? The realization of
Lesson.
her drive.
What
was driving her to take revenge on that, apart from the task that she'd been given, was the fact that she thought Osha was dead. And she blamed it all on the Jedi. She blamed it on the 4 Jedi that turned up that night.
But she knew that she was alive at the end of, was it the first episode? When she saw her and then she shot her with the thing, and then she could have changed her mind. Oh, my sister's alive. I don't hate them anymore. But now it was a walk away, and she's like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, but you look at where she's at though, right? She is fueled by friggin' anger. And it can be, and you know what? It can be a slow realization. You look at the context of the conversation they were having as well.
Well, look what Tim just said. You don't make that kind of character change off camera. Show us why.
Well,
That's like me going to McDonald's and I'm I'm in the drive-thru. Yeah, can I get a? You know what? I want Taco Bell instead. I want a Taco Bell, and I just leave.
Yeah, can I get a Whopper?
but so was it abrupt? Absolutely.
Woodruff?
But I think there is a line. I think she says, the final lesson is when you realize something about yourself, or I forget what the line is.
Well,
but
she
there's
said
a
it's
reason
basically
that she's like,
impossible.
wait a minute, I'm doing the wrong thing. I just don't recall what the line is. So I mean, they give a reason. It's just still feels rushed and abrupt.
Yeah, but I mean, she was saying as well, like it's absolutely along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing, but if this is the lesson, then it's an impossible feat, pretty much, or along those lines.
Something like that. I forget what it is. But I mean, that was the reason.
So I mean, that part of things, yeah, okay, yeah. I will say that a lot of the scripting hasn't been the best, in terms of the dialogue. It's not been written the best way.
I hate sand.
That also wasn't
you said I
written the
hate
best
Sam.
way.
I was like, oh my
I'm
god.
just saying, like, we have the best dialogue. Anyway, I'm just going to argue every opposite point.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, in agreement with Elvis, Harrison Ford is on record saying you can write this hit, George, but you can't fricking say it.
For the night, you're Sebastian. Because you're playing Sebastian's role perfectly right now, being that devil's advocate, and I love it. Does the appearance of Chiari-Mundi break canon? This has been a massive
originally
thing since yesterday.
Originally, he wasn't born at this time, I don't think.
But that's no longer a thing now.
Yeah.
According to what, though?
There's 2 points to this.
Yeah, so if you take out Legends, his birthday, how old he should have been, are you okay with him being in the show?
Absolutely, 100%.
Same.
Yeah. Because everything from Legends is
gone.
There's so many facts in Legend that aren't canon.
I'm just gonna say it doesn't break canon in that respect. Number one, right? Because it's Legends, and Legends isn't canon, so it doesn't break canon that way. The second way was the line that he gives in The Phantom Menace.
It doesn't though, because remember,
correct, it doesn't. Because
remember when we first, I think it was the first episode we all talked about. It feels like there's a cover up. Something is going on. There's a cover up that the head council is not talking about. What if he's just playing along? They haven't been around for a millennia. What if he's playing along and both Yoda and Mace Windu are both kind of like, yeah, and at the same time look at him, shut up.
There is also the fact that no one said Sith anywhere near him.
I would much rather it be he's in on it than, well, he didn't say Sith. You know what I mean? Like, I'd much rather be something cool.
You have
and they just think it's some Jedi offshoot that are just doing dumb shit.
And this is the thing. You have to put yourself in that position, right? You need to put yourself in Chiari-Mundi's shoes at that table, at that point, and listen to the information at hand. No one suspected anything dark side. No one suspected anything Sith. So at that point, he's oblivious.
Because they're already extinct at this point.
Well, they mention a faction in that conversation of a group of Jedis that broke off that were fighting and killing other Jedis. And that faction's gone. So they're like, it can't be that. But what if they found out a Jedi killed another Jedi, and now everyone's going to worry that those people are back? So that's from a High Republic book. I forget what the name of that faction is. But anyway, so that's what they're talking about. Is they definitely said it's a Jedi. They didn't say a dark side user or a Sith. They just said it's a Jedi, and Jedi did kill Jedi, so it wasn't unheard of to have that conversation.
That's my dude right there.
What up, dude?
Yeah, that's my dude. We were in the
it's funny because I go back together. I go back and watch like the prequels, and it seems like the three masters of the Jedi Council who talks the most: Yoda, Mace, and Chiari-Mundi. Yeah. So he's already on his way up, ranking into that point to where it's like it makes sense that he's part of the cover-up, because give it how many more years later, He's part of the cover up. Yoda's part of the cover up. So is Mace Windu.
Well, let's fast forward to episode 5 next week, right? We know Venestra shows up because we see that in the trailer with the light whip, right? So we know Venestra shows up. We know the no Plo Koon guy. Forget his name or her name or their name. I don't know. What's PC anymore?
That pissed people off too when they said what's his name or their name or whatever.
Yeah, I can't compute. I can't even handle that shit. They both show up. So is it safe to assume that Ki-Adi-Mundi also shows up? Which, if he does, then we may have a problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In what sense?
In the sense that the Sith dark side user is there, or is it not a Sith? This is the thing. Are they going to go along the lines of this is not a Sith? But then if it isn't a Sith, then May isn't an acolyte.
What if the guy who is playing the Sith is the actual acolyte? And he's just he's coercing everybody else to do other shit for him to become where he wants to go. I don't know. I just noticed a lot of people like to take control of people's minds and like to control them in other ways to where, because like now May is talking about not killing them. So what? Is May gonna go to prison?
Here's another thought as well. We are thinking of the word acolyte because a lot of us are familiar with the Old Republic and what Sith acolytes were. Are they loosely using the term acolyte because acolyte translated as just follower?
Exactly.
So these are the questions that need to be answered before I form an overall opinion. Really, you know.
Do you think all Sith need to have acolytes so if someone dies, they can replace them immediately so that Rule of 2 is always maintained? You know, like they have to have like 5 on deck. Like Dooku came in like that after Darth Maul, right? Like,
yeah, this is yeah.
Because there's a difference between apprentice and acolyte. Because apprentice is you're part of the Rule of 2.
You're getting the information. Acolyte, you're just serving the people who have the information.
And then after Ventress went away, Dooku was quick to get Savage.
And Ventress was an acolyte, was she not? And wasn't the show originally supposed to be about Ventress or something? Or there was going to be a show about Ventress, and then maybe it turned into this or something?
Potentially, I don't know. This show's been 3 years in the making since it was announced.
What would you call Ventress to Dooku?
I would say an acolyte.
Originally, an acolyte. Yeah, an acolyte. I mean, because here's the 5. Is it 5? The 5 stages of Sith. You've got Master, Lord, Apprentice, Acolyte, and Servant. Right? Something like that. So, Acolyte's one above Servant.
But are those canon still?
This is the thing. True. We don't know. So and this is exactly why the appearance of Ki-Adi-Mundi cannot possibly break canon, because right now we don't know what canon is. This show is not rewriting canon, but it's adding to canon.
And that's what's frustrating a lot of people, especially me, because like we've had these ideas from books that even were canon at the time that this show came out, and then the show's just like, nah, we don't like that anymore.
The other side of the coin with this is this a show for Disney to add things to canon so that their future projects work? E.g.,
there's definitely a balance thing going on for sure. Yeah,
the first Jedi movie, for example, into the Rey movie. Obviously, we know we're going to get Heir to the Empire from Filoni. Like that's just a given. Like that's
Thick Sabers, they have an agenda,
right?
Telling you the Thick Sabers is just to make all the Thick Sabers a Galaxy's Edge. Yeah, makes sense.
I honestly think they did, dude.
There's no other reason. He's like, hey, this is accurate to the show because it's thick as. Don't worry about all those thin ones because that's not accurate. These thick.
Yeah, you can't have thin ones like this anymore.
No, here's a question.
It's not canon anymore.
Here's a question off the back of Woodruff's question here. Actually, it's very. That's a fucking great question, Woodruff, actually, to be honest with you. Vader had an apprentice and an Inquisitor. Was the Grand Inquisitor basically...
When did Vader have an apprentice?
But that's
I think
not
it's-
canon though. Star Killer is not canon.
Star Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What I'm saying is-
video games don't count. What
Yeah,
apprentice did he have?
but what I'm saying is, right, was the role of Grand Inquisitor also the role of Vader's apprentice?
Mm-mm.
No, I don't think so. They were all easily replaceable.
Yeah.
They're all just there to do his work to kill as many Jedi as possible because the goal was
I think that
to hunt the Jedi.
Yeah, I think the Inquisitors were just like, hey, we're just gonna get some Jedi, turn them bad, and then have them kill all the rest of the Jedi. I don't think there was
Yeah.
any motivation to make them Sith or anything like that. They're just like, let's just make them bad.
Because the way I was thinking about that there was the position of Grand Inquisitor technically a position of apprentice, but then that breaks the rule of two, right?
Mhm.
Because the Inquisitors weren't Sith; they were technically acolytes.
They were just force sensitive beings who were used to take on Vader's
yeah,
biddings.
They were fallen
killing-
Jedi.
Yes,
yeah.
because the goal
Just
was
like-
to kill all the Jedi.
Just like Balin's not Sith.
Yeah. So I mean, he would just use them, kill all the Jedi, and then if he wanted to kill them, now he has nothing to stand up against him or the Emperor. Because the goal was to overthrow the Emperor.
Yeah.
And then when he found out Luke was his son, then he wanted to use Luke, who essentially could have been his acolyte.
Yeah.
To good. So
Well, this is old canon, but try to remember her name.
Canon or not canon?
Well,
There's old canon.
it's I don't even know anymore. Bane's apprentice, Xana, I think her name was.
Who's apprentice?
Bane.
Yeah.
She was starting to train an apprentice before she overthrew Bane.
Well,
That's typical of the Sith, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
So
mean-
technically, the apprentice does have an apprentice when they're going to.
isn't that an acolyte though? I mean, were they actually teaching the Sith religion to these people, or
This
were
was
they just?
this was in the Bane trilogy, so this was like what 10, 15 years ago.
But then wasn't she technically a countess at that point, which would be a lord? Because she wasn't the master, but should have been a lord or countess, right?
Mhm.
So then she could have had an apprentice. Because that's the whole purpose, isn't it, of the Sith, is you get strong enough and try and overthrow the master. And
I'd
one
say that an
will
apprentice
survive.
can't have an apprentice because the apprentice doesn't have everything the master has. So how can you have an apprentice if you don't even have all of the information to give to them?
Anakin
was-
was also an apprentice before he got Ahsoka.
But here's the
He
thing,
was an
right?
apprentice before he had Ahsoka.
No, he was knighted at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, his trials were the Clone Wars, so he was.
Oh yeah,
basic,
technically,
right?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
What I'm trying to think what this was.
Everyone got like a field commission promotion.
Yeah, because there was something in. I know it's not canon, right? But there was something in Star Wars Old Republic Online. There was a cinematic that explained a little bit more, and it was basically the Sith apprentice had now been made a lord, and their trial was really to try and overthrow the master. Because that's a thing, isn't it, with the Sith? It's like,
Which is why
Fight with
Vader
Vengeance
was Lord
was his
Vader.
Trial. Sorry, I had that wrong.
yeah,
I had to correct myself.
I don't know. It's at this point, it's anyone's guess.
Can I just say they did Kanaka wrong? I was so excited to see a Wookiee Jedi,
I was
And
just.
then-
We're gonna see a lot more Kelnaka.
and then all of a sudden,
But before we get on to that, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be right back.
take us with you.
Please. Well, I wish I could, but unfortunately, the camera's fixed. So
Back to
I-
Coyote Monday while he's going to the bathroom.
I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay, so back to Coyote
Time in.
Monday. Everybody talked about Coyote Monday's line prior to the show starting up, right? Like everyone was like, "How can that be?" Because they've been gone for 1,000 years. Here's the line. Like everyone pointed to that line. I almost feel like they had to put him in the show because they're just like, "I know what you're thinking. Let's just throw a cameo in of Coyote Monday just to screw with everyone and be like, no, you don't know. We're telling you."
That could be
right
the
now
only
that
time we
it's
see him, and he has no idea what's going on.
I swear, if this whole thing is not a cover up, then I will officially hate the show.
Yeah, if it turns out
because it makes so much sense for them to cover everything up. The reason why he's in this episode, to why he says what he says in episode 1, the way Yoda looks at Mace, the way Mace looks at him, it's like those are essentially the only 3 that we know of who were either Jedi Knights or Masters prior to being a part of the Council. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes sense. And the thing is, I don't think Mace Windu's alive yet at this point. Yoda's not alive yet, but Mace is.
Yoda's definitely alive.
No, that's what I said. Like, Yoda's alive, Mace isn't alive yet.
Yeah.
So at this point, because Mace is essentially Yoda's like right-hand man, he's got to know. You know what I mean?
Mace?
Yeah.
But he was a Grandmaster too, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, he was. I'm saying, but during Acolyte, I'm pretty sure he's not alive yet.
Oh no, he couldn't, well,
exactly. See,
yeah,
he may be a kid by now, or maybe not even. He's probably.
Yeah, he's not even sperm yet.
Not even conceived yet. But it's. I'm sure him being Yoda's right hand man, Yoda told him, "All right, so check this shit out. 80 years ago, this shit went down."
Mm-hmm.
And if you hear anything about it, just like, nope, it's not true. And then here's proof. Ki-Adi-Mundi tells him, "This is what happened. We have to keep it between the 3 of us, or within the council, or whatever, because this led to this happening, which is what will happen." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As long as that happens, I will look back at the show and be like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I'm cool with it."
It's definitely going to make everyone watch that scene differently going
100%.
forward.
And dude, we're looking at that scene different already.
I mean, yeah, no,
You know what I'm saying?
Remember when I was like, "Look at Yoda's face, like he knows something."
Yes. And so like the second they say it is
I still think he has no idea, and there's no cover up. But I'm also hopeful that they stop the assassination of the freaking Jedi and making them look like assholes. I'm tired of that.
If all those Jedi die, how many
I
of them
hope
are there?
everyone in the show dies except for Saul.
Man, Soul, that man, I love that character.
He
He's
learned
dope.
English just for this show.
Li Zhongjae, killing it right now.
Yeah,
That man is
yes.
killing it right now.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I don't care how thick that boy is. His would probably be the only one I would buy because I love him as a character.
I'm a little bit disappointed that Nexus have already came out with these character hilts. It's like, yeah, they're not even
They're too
nearly.
thin.
I like it better.
but
I even said it to Jesse. I was like, "Look, it's not thick. I like it."
But they're not even anywhere near visually accurate.
And they look longer too, not
Yep.
just thinner, but longer too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double-handed.
That's going to be an issue because everyone's going to want to make thinner ones, and then you have the people like Jesse who love accuracy that's going to want the thick boys.
I'm telling you, bro, Galaxy's Edge, that's where you go.
Yep.
Because they're going to have the correct size.
Everyone on Acolyte is swinging around some tuna cans, and they're making the pencil sabers.
Freaking, they're Pringles cans.
Pringles cans. Yeah, I wish.
So moving on to Konaka then. So
Rest in peace.
What are we moving on?
this is the thing that starts the twist of twists. We think about this timeline wise, right? From when she leaves Khmer hanging upside down. You're talking, what, a couple minutes before she gets to Konaka's place? Because the sun's already setting anyway. Right? So she walks. So basically, if you think about this, when she is at that door or just approaching that door, Zipface is in there because his fur was still orange from the fucking blow.
It was still like
It was still
smoking.
singed.
It was
very- that's
embering,
the word.
right?
It was still smoking.
He's running
It
around
was-
like swiper, no swiping, trying to get out the back door.
Right.
I mean, he could fly, so
And this is what I loved about this, because this was like massive Scream vibes to me when I seen that, because you just know he or she was just there, right? And I'm going to show you something just now. I think I know who Zipface is. I'm pretty positive I know who Zipface is. Give me a
I
second
wanna
to
hear
find
that.
this.
it's Jackie, isn't it?
Nope.
Yord.
Nope. because they're all there. They're all stood there with their lightsabers out, so it can't.
Being funny.
Can't, you know. Give me a second.
Carrie Ann Moss.
Here we go. I want you to pay attention to something in this here.
Not seen it, Sam.
You seen it?
No, not seen it.
No, we don't see it.
Oh no, I haven't pulled it up yet. Give me 2 little seconds. I'm just
pull it out. I mean, put it
Come
up.
on, pull it up. What are we waiting for?
I'm pulling it out.
Do
Don't
it!
worry.
Do it already!
Come
I'm pulling it out. Come on. Right. Khmer is built like the side of a dollar bill. No fucking way does he have 4 arms that big or hands that big.
It's Cal Kestis.
No.
I thought the same thing when we watched, like after the show, we all paused on this exact scene. In fact, if I remember right, it was 28 minutes and 25 seconds in, or something like that. But yeah, we all sat and looked at this and thought, you know, Quaimir is so thin. I don't think that could be him.
Look at the chest area as well.
Are you going to try to say this person's got something going on in their chest? What are you saying?
It's the Iridonian space lesbian.
Well, it looks like a guy.
Or the Zabrak.
I mean, it could be a girl, but it kind of looks like a dude.
She has motive.
Yep.
She has massive motive.
And the way that the helmet shaped at the top, it looks like it's a little too long. So
cover the horns.
Yep.
Good.
Right. The only thing that puts me off that is the hands are quite large.
Yeah.
Maybe she gained some weight.
Perhaps. But I'm telling you all right now, if this turns out to be Khmer, I am done.
I mean, I won't be done. I think.
But it kind of makes sense because he ran away and all of a sudden he shows up.
He was hanging upside down. But Khmer is built like the side of a friggin' dollar bill. He does not have 4 arms that size.
And if it's Khmer, they're making it way too obvious.
He's got the body of an iPhone.
That's a great point, man. That's what I was just gonna say. Like, this show has done nothing but confuse or be mystery or misdirect, and Quaimir has just been obvious the whole time.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a misdirect. Because it's obvious, it has to be a misdirect. Because why make this mysterious show have this really obvious character? That doesn't make sense to me. I think it is more likely that he truly is just a servant. But the people that are saying that this is the apprentice and not the master, I think makes the most sense. Because you could kill this person, everyone thinks the Sith is dead, and then you have Plagueis walking up to Palps, like ready to, recruit him in the next season or something like that. Like, Plagueis could be the master even, or Tenebris or whoever. But
hey, how old is Palpatine?
Palpatine would not. Well, he might be born, but probably not. Like, I think this is probably a little pre his time.
I just don't.
Because it can't be Plagueis, because Plagueis has a very, very big head, like long.
No, it can't be Plagueis. No.
But I feel like he has something to do with.
But Plagueis could be the master, is my point. Yes. I don't think this is.
But then, obviously, as well, don't forget this might not even be Sith.
Huh?
But how would you get your Kyber crystal to believe?
So hold up, Sam. So the director has said Sith a billion times, and they've had this character, and they've said Sith. They've never said the word master or apprentice, but they have said Sith.
Yep.
I don't recall them saying Sith. I recall them saying dark side user, not Sith.
No, they definitely say the Sith.
So they have said the Sith?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it's Sith.
I'll go double check, but I'm 99% confident because
right. So
a bunch of YouTubers went and visited the studio,
Yeah.
When they're sitting in that circle, I believe is when they were all talking about the Sith.
Right, sweet. So see if that is the case then, what planet is infamously connected to the Sith?
Korriban.
Korriban. Huh? What else?
Exegol.
What else?
Wait, what's the question, Sam?
What planet is infamously connected with the Sith and the dark side?
Acto. Act 2.
Where are the Night Sisters from? Dathomir.
Well, they're not
Mo-
from Dathomir.
Well, they reside in Dathomir, right?
Mhm.
Right. So
But that's not
pla-
associated with Sith, though. Night
That's
Sisters
a-
aren't Sith.
the Sith temples on Dathomir.
I believe that there would be a Sith temple there. Sure, but the Night Sisters are not Sith.
No, but what I'm saying though is that's isn't that Maul's home planet, Dathomir?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Zebrak's home planet. So it points to the Zebrak witch. Everything's pointing to the Zebrak witch. The connection to the Sith, the connection to the dark side, the motive. Everything's pointing to her. The only thing that's putting me off is these big ass forearms and these chunky man hands.
Maybe it's the other. Maybe it's the other mother, the one that says, "Yeah, well, I created them," and then it's
I mean, it
because
doesn't
like, yeah, I know. I'm just.
she doesn't look black. Sorry.
She's
She's
got some
that you can
beefy-
see
she got
color
some
in this
beefy hands.
Yeah.
not well lit scene and stuff, but
It's I mean, this
Maybe
this
she
is
went
the
Super
thing.
Saiyan.
It's
I'm gonna try and
Dexter.
I'm going to try and zoom in on where's this?
But let's be honest though, would you guys really want to find out exactly who he is at the end of season 1? Because if there's, let's just say they greenlight a season 2, you really want to know who he is at the end of season 1?
Kind of.
Like, kind
Yeah.
of, I agree, but at the same time, it's like Vader didn't take off his helmet. You didn't see his face until the 3rd movie.
we can see their
So it's
eye
kinda-
through the helmet. Isn't the Zabrak?
Yeah,
eye a
when you
particular color?
look closely here in the helmet, you can see it looks like mesh, like, so they can see through. But they definitely have a
no,
big
we
head.
stopped and we saw an actual eye in that one scene.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I seen that as well. But it was just like a reflection within an eye. We couldn't actually. Well, at least I couldn't properly see it. The thing that's thrown me off is just these huge hands and this massive forearm. Right, the forearm and the hand. They indicate someone who might be larger in stature. But then you look at the rest of the frame. There's quite
Isaac, I think it's just his fingers like this.
Yeah.
the shoulders are very, very broad, clearly, because you can see the side profile there. But there's obviously mass here. Now, the only other larger character that we've seen was that Jedi boy on the balcony in episode 2, I believe. But it can't be him. There's no motive.
The fat
There's no
Jedi?
motive for anything in this show.
But this is exactly the reasons as to
Careful
why
with the
I'm...
overgeneralizations there.
But this is exactly the reason as to why I'm now loving this show. This show seems to be following the Scream rules, the Wes Craven rules.
I've never seen
Right.
those movies.
Dude, you've never seen Scream.
Nope.
Bro.
Really?
It's pretty great.
Don't like horror movies.
It's not really a horror, man. It's horror slasher comedy. Especially the first one. It's hilarious. No. Well, there's a cat flap. I'll try and crawl out of that. Ooh. Dude, trust me, watch it. It's great. But this is the thing with the whole thing with Kilnaka. She walks in, he's just been done. That's right out of Wes Craven's book. You know? There's going to be massive twists in episode 5. Huge twists.
What if
And
there's two of them?
Chimere was.
What if it's
very-
both moms?
They did the
What
fusion,
if
they did the
two?
fusion dance where they got the Patara earrings.
Yeah, because how the hell would this person manage to get inside, kill, what's it, Kanaka? Fresh embers on his or her check, whatever. Make it right back outside. Let's just hope that there's 2 doors, one in and one out, to hide up in the trees, to float back down, to reveal yourself.
Well, if they went out the back door.
Or he did a
Never-
saber throw. He threw the saber, hit Kanaka. Kanaka walked into the house, stumbling, fell in the chair, died, and he's still outside.
Sam, this is the Zabrak actress.
Oh, those definitely ain't her forearms.
Yeah, they're not her forearms. It's the only person right now that's really sticking out to me. It can't be Khmer. It cannot be. The frame is not. The frame's too big. The frame's too big. The hands
Elvis,
are too big. The forearms
find
are too big.
a pose of the Chimere actor doing that same thing.
Boy, looking at her cloak though, and the way she's standing, ooh, it kind of gives me the same vibes though. Just saying.
Yeah.
You want me to look up what?
Look up the actor who plays Chimere, or however you say his name, wearing that same exact outfit, doing this same exact pose.
I did that. His fingers are too small.
Yeah, Quimere's
Yeah,
little.
I was looking him up and I looked and I could just see how small his hands were. There's a moment where he's like this. I think he's like giving something to May or whatever. But
And he was acting way too scared when May was like, "Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore."
That's Quimere's hand.
yeah, no, it's too thick still.
It's too bony.
Dude, the way he came in and floated in though, sick.
Oh yeah,
I'll say that was dope.
yeah.
That
I mean,
was when
this
I
shot
actually
right
said
here just says, "Come on, that's not him."
No,
Yeah.
that's not him.
Like, he's so little.
Yeah, it's
It's not
not him.
little. He's thin.
See if it does. See if the helmet comes off and it's Chimere, I'm done, because that's just there. And I understand, right? There's people are not always in, the armor and the helmets and stuff, but that's usually for stunts. There's no need for that to happen.
That's
here.
what they did in Black Widow with Olga Kurylenko, I think they say is how they say her name, when she was supposed to be Taskmaster. They had a big beefy dude in the suit.
Again, though, there's no stunts taking place
Actually,
here.
his
This
forearms
is-
are a little bigger.
Oh,
Oh,
His wrist is pretty thin.
And
Yeah,
his
his
and
wrist
the majority of his forearms are covered up throughout the show with his cloak. I'm just saying, it just makes more sense. This dude ran away, and then all of a sudden he's in the trees, just came down.
but did he run away though? He didn't run away. He was hanging by his friggin' ankles.
Oh yeah, but they separated. So since they had separated, what, he's gonna stand there hanging it the entire time?
yeah.
I mean, you're talking
He
a
got
matter
his
of
lightsaber and cut himself down, and then floated.
That's
You're
also
talking-
true.
Well, that's the other thing. As soon as
Wait.
she left him hanging in the tree, I was just angry. I was like, just leave the character
Yeah,
that
but
can ruin everything for you alive. Like, what?
where did the helmet come from?
Like this guy knows the master. He works for him. Probably has a knife. You're just gonna leave him hanging from a tree? What? It was just
So,
stupid.
if
Maybe
it was
he had
him,
it in his backpack.
He did have a lot of backpacks. I'm just gonna say, when you're cosplaying, it takes a lot of storage room. Like, when you go to the con, you might need a big bag.
based on what I'm seeing there, I just can't see it being him. He's got his forearms might be a little bit bigger, but they're huge. Those forearms are massive, and the wrist as well. The wrist is huge. The hands are like shovels.
I think it's Platoon.
I mean, if you look at how thick those sabers are, right, and you look at that hand around that saber, that's
He can barely touch his index finger.
That's a big ass hand, though. I don't know. It can't be Chimere. There's just no way in hell it can be. Just honestly, and see if it is. Big disappointment. Because he's just pulling a Palpatine all over again, hiding in plain sight. Like, we've seen this story already.
It also seems like they showed that much hand and arm on purpose.
Yeah.
The way that it's framed and like cinematically and everything, with the hand like right in the frame, and then I don't know. It's almost like they were like more misdirection on purpose or something, more mystery on purpose.
What if there's two of them?
To a master and apprentice, there's always two. What are you talking about?
No, what if there's two of this?
What are the other ones still? What are the other ones still in Kanaka's house hiding?
What if it's both the moms?
That's what I said. You never know.
Yeah.
There's a form of vengeance to why you want to kill certain. Like, why would you want all four of them for sure? Like, you're gonna recruit one of the daughters. We're gonna kill these four Jedis. Why? Just because. You do that, you become an acolyte.
Here's another question, though. Right, and this is a question that no one has answered yet or asked. How do they know it was Kilnaka, Saul, and Dara, and Torben? Because the
Maybe they
only
asked
people
May.
well, the
What are
only
you talking
people, the only people that would know who those Jedi were would be the people that were there.
Maybe May told whoever it was.
I was gonna say May was there.
Yeah.
Osha was there.
But did May know all their names?
Well, I mean, she spent 16 years hunting these people down. She probably figured out who they are.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's got to be a connection there. Like, because May's just a
Although-
little girl.
Quymir, when he says Osha was really close to one of them, what was his name? Soul? He didn't know Soul's name. I mean, it's again possible that someone could have just told him or whatever, but you know, in episode 2 or 3, episode 2, Quymir never hears Soul's name. Soul never says it. There's no conversation, but he says to May, "Yeah, Osha was really close to that one Jedi, Soul." You know, what's the purpose of that comment too when he didn't know Soul's name? So it's just all kinds of sus on purpose.
There's dribs and drabs of information here that leave you out. How did he know that? You know, how does this Sith know what 4 Jedi it was?
Maybe that's what started her deciding to not stay this path. It's because she realized that he is more involved. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm starting to lean towards this could be one of the witches. You know, because
I'm not going to make any assumptions because they always turn out to be wrong. So I'm just going to wait and see.
Well, what did the Sith do? They use people.
Yes.
You know, they
All the time.
classically, they use people, right? So if we're going down the motive path here of it's one of the witches, and they're keeping their identity hidden, but they're using May to carry out their bidding here, right? That's kind of the line of thinking that I'm now taking. It's got to be one of the witches or someone who was maybe on that planet. You know, because they have to have a motive.
What if it's one of the
You know?
Jedis?
Well, all the Jedi were there accounted for, weren't
Well,
they?
no, like that we may have seen at the Jedi Temple. What about that one dude who was training the younglings in Episode 4? The only reason why I say that is let's just say 85 years before Episode 1. Let's just say 85. Plagueis has to be involved in this somehow. Which, if you give it another X amount of years, Palpatine becomes his apprentice. He killed Plagueis, and the plan for Palpatine was to have an insider inside within the Jedi Council, which is why he seduces Anakin. So what if the whole point of the Sith right now is to seduce someone within the Jedi Council or within the Jedi Temple to be their spy, and that begins the idea of having somebody within, like your spy within the Jedi, you know? I don't know. I was just thinking about different scenarios because at this point, we're thinking 85 years prior to Episode 1. Plagueis is alive.
Yeah.
Is he?
He's alive.
I mean, he might not be. It could definitely be pre-Plagueis.
Well, because we don't know the, again, like with Canon, we don't know ages, nor do we know how old certain species are now. So it's a possibility he could still be alive. But I feel like it's going to be the start of that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like different things to where my thing is, if they get renewed as season 2, okay, at the end of the day, this has to lead to Episode 1. There has to be some form of connection. Now, if they don't have a season 2 and it's the end of season 1, then hey, Ricky, then you know that idea of Plagueis, all that shit has to have happened or develop and start to happen, or the idea or the plan starts to where Plagueis 30 years from now, then that's when he gets Palpatine as his Padawan. I don't know. I just feel like at this point, it's got to lead to that. Whether it's 85, it's hard because if we're thinking 1,000, 10,000 years, we have no idea. But we're talking about 85 years. That's not even a century yet. Anything can happen.
See, the very fact though is that we're asking all these questions as to who this could be, and the fact that we don't know, and we're coming up with theories and possibilities. You know, what do great shows actually do. They get
Make
you
you talk.
interested. They make you talk. They get you asking questions. They get you making theories. I think, and I'll go out on a limb here, right? I think the next 4 episodes are going to change a lot of people's opinions regarding this series in a big way. Because I don't think anyone is ready for what's about to happen on Tuesday.
There's got to be a lot, because there's a lot of people that are about done with this show already, and they're probably not even going to watch the next episode.
Honestly, I hope they don't watch it.
Ricky
Yeah.
messaged me. I really want to know your point of the show. I haven't heard anything from you yet. I haven't been able to watch anyone's videos yet, but I want to know.
Here's the thing with that is the people who are shitting on this so bad. If this turns out to be a banger of a show, my opinion is you don't deserve it.
Yeah. I'm mad at people right now. I'm mad at people for being mad.
You know, people are always entitled to their own opinions. You'll never take someone's opinion away from them. That's fine, you know. But what I've seen and what Elvis has been subjected to is
People
just
want to fight me.
It's so
annoying.
unnecessary. And those people need to stop running their fucking mouths, because we all know, and we've all seen it, if they were face to face with you, they wouldn't say shit.
Right.
And that's it. It's funny, right? I love it when a new Star Wars show drops now, because it's one of those ones where it's like, if you really want to get to know someone, let's see how they behave around a new Star Wars show. And there's a few people that have been going, okay, so that's your true colors, all right.
Yeah, there are a few people, aren't there?
Right? And I'm like, okay, sweet.
So, sorry. The only reason why now I feel like Plagueis is really involved in this entire thing is Palpatine was 52 years old at the time of Phantom Menace, which means there's a 30-year gap prior to that he was born.
Yeah.
So something...
But that would mean that Plagueis had multiple apprentices prior to...
That's why I said, what if this Sith is actually the real Acolyte? The real Acolyte to Plagueis, who's currently just a Sith Knight or whatever.
Or what if Plagueis is the apprentice?
That's what I'm saying. What if what if Plagueis is the apprentice and the real Acolyte is this so-called Sith?
It's a total misdirect having us think that May is the Acolyte.
And the only reason why I think that is the misdirection.
I think.
Let me blow your mind real quick, though.
I want to move on.
Who says Plagueis has to be Palpatine's master? That's not canon.
It kind of is, though.
They could do anything they want.
Well,
I really hope they don't.
But he insinuated that in episode 3.
He does insinuate, but he doesn't say it was his master.
He tells a story of Darth Plagueis' wife, and if you look at the way he's talking about it, it's as if I did it.
He's thinking about it in his head, like
he's talking in third person, kind of.
And in the novelization of episode 3, he actually does specifically say he was my master.
Right, and he also says that he created Anakin, which is something I'd like to talk about on the show at some point.
That was bullshit, though, wasn't it? He didn't actually do that.
Well, no, me and Chris talked about this. I almost
go for
like
it more.
It's
yours, bro.
What's that?
I said, go for it, man. The floor is yours. Go for it.
Okay, all right. So stick with me. And Chris, if I get any of this wrong, you correct me. But okay, so if they created, if through dark magic, they were able to create the twins. So a dark side user can create it. Now, there are 2 ways to look at Anakin, right? One, that the dark side was so powerful that the Force created him. The midichlorians themselves created the life to combat bad, right? So no one did that. Like, no one made that choice. The Force did that, right?
Right.
Or you believe the line as written in the script when Palps tells Anakin, that's why I had you created, or that's why I created you. Like, so he says that he created Anakin in the script for Revenge of the Sith.
That was the original script that he was supposed to say.
I think they actually filmed it. Like, I think it was like made that just didn't make it into the edit. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong on that. I'm watching other YouTubers that say that stuff. But anyway, so
If it's not on
it
screen, it's
almost
not
is even better. So now we're just saying this is a dark side ability that they can create life, and
then
you would have to learn it from someone.
The
and you would learn
midichlorians
it from
try to
someone.
correct it. Essentially, try to correct. I mean, there's the possibility of. So you know how I said the seduction of Anakin. You know, that's why the twins were now born. When I say twins, Luke and Leia.
You're back on balance. I'm not on balance. I'm talking about life.
But I know what I'm saying. But what if with the creation of the girls, there's one bad, one good. That's the Force saying, all right, if you're gonna create one, and she's gonna be bad, we're gonna have one good one.
Yeah, if you create a bad one, you got to create a good one. Yeah, you have to keep it in balance. No, I see what you're saying.
Because it's so weird because prior to a lot of this coming out, I've read so many things of people saying Anakin is Jesus. Essentially, the idea when they said there was no father, because she said there was no father, and that's the idea they took from that was like, oh, is that how, because the Virgin Mary or whatever, and then Shmi, she said there was no father. So the idea of something of another force created that child. So now we're looking at 185 years prior to episode 1, to where that same thing is occurring, where someone's creating it by using the force. And which is why that witch from Dathomir, she said I created it, and the mom said she said I carried it. It was I created them.
Yeah, Coral says I carried them, and then Anastasia or whatever says, but I created them. And then she turns back and says, and do you want them to find out how you did that? Or something like that.
Yeah. There's something there with that. Like, episode 3, like I said earlier on, like, entertainment-wise, yeah. But information-wise,
that's pretty good.
So much there.
As long as the information continues to come out.
Yes.
That's the thing. As long as the information continues to come out, I'm like, okay. So the amount of information that you're giving to now create a canon universe X amount of years before this time period. Okay. But as long as you're giving that information, and here's the thing. I don't think we're gonna get all the information. I think it's just gonna be plot holes like there is in every single movie. There's always a plot hole. And so I'm just hoping that the plot hole that we get isn't that important.
Is it at least digestible? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they shot this as a one shot, as a one and done season.
Which is good and bad.
Which is good and bad. It's good and good actually, because here's the thing: if they don't leave much open and they go for a season 2, it's a blank canvas. They can look at what people potentially didn't like. They can, which I'm not saying that they would, but they could look at potentially what people didn't like, and they can kind of go from there. In terms of the latter half of this season, though, the way that I see this kind of going is now May will give herself to the Jedi. Mm-hmm. I can see the sisters kind of reuniting, and this is maybe going to be, them and the Jedi versus or hunting down the Sith Master or something. It really depends on what happens with this masked character. If this masked character gets defeated unmasked, then we're on a jaunt looking for the Master.
There's a scene with the helmet on the ground, I'm pretty sure, is there not?
Yes.
Okay.
So that signs to me are this person is potentially defeated. So I think the second half of the season is we're on a little jolly trying to find the Master. Or the person is just unmasked and escapes, and then it's a goose chase. That's the two outcomes here. Personally, I'd love this character to be defeated, interrogated, and then we're on a little, mystery as to try and find who's really pulling the strings. And if that happens, then banger.
What if
Banger of a show.
What if he dies and he whispers, "I'm sorry, master," or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
definitely. No, I
To make that
totally.
to really make them question, like, what do you say?
Yeah.
And that
I think they
create-
go
that create
further, and I
them.
think they give us the master in a like credit scene or something. Like I feel like they're gonna give us some really, really big reveal cliffhanger at the end. That's gonna be like, oh my god, season 2, here we go. Like,
Yeah.
or not.
or it sucks.
Like
Or
what if the reveal
yeah.
is Plagueis and you just leave it there because you already know what happens between then and episode 1? Or him
But no,
and
because
Palpatine,
season
yeah.
2 is happening.
That's for sure.
It's apparently being greenlit by Lucasfilm.
Although
But then there's rumors that Iger is
that was a week ago.
slashing. Yeah, there's rumors that Iger is like slashing things across the board. Apparently, there's rumors that there's Acolyte merchandise coming into Galaxy's Edge and whatnot in Disney,
I believe it.
and
lightsaber, dude.
and the prices have been already slashed before they've even been released. That's a rumor. That's a rumor. I personally think they are being a little bit premature with this, and I think a lot of people out there who are running their mouths are being far too presumptuous and premature. If this goes the way that I think it's going to go, and if those people want to get real for a little minute and come down off of their fucking high horse and actually say, you know what, I was wrong, this show at the beginning maybe didn't breathe confidence into me, but ended up okay, it all made sense and it was a banger of a show. I think a lot of those people need to really look at their behavior, because like Elvis said, he's experienced it this week, and we've all seen a lot of it.
Thank you for clarifying that, because people not liking the show is so fine and so okay. Like, that's like, I judge you a little bit for not watching the whole show, but you don't like what you've seen so far. Great, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
People that are like going out of their way to tell people that it sucks and telling like, no, your opinion's wrong, this is bad. I'm like, come on, man. People,
we're not
the only thing wrong there. The only thing wrong there is that person's attitude, and that's it.
Like, I'll be completely honest. I thought the first 2 episodes, I gave them a 7. 3, I gave a 2. And this last episode, I gave a 4. I did not like them at all, but I've kept my damn mouth shut online about it.
Same.
One thing, right, Matt? Here's the thing. See, at the end of this series, we'll go back to 3, and I'll ask you to rescore it.
And if I'm wrong, I will admit that I was wrong.
Because you know what? I gave episode 3 a 5, right? But then I did say to myself, right, okay, I'm going to go back to episode 3 once this is done, and I'm going to rescore that, because I think there's a lot more to that episode than what we know.
If they explain everything and make it make sense, I'd be happy, and I will give it a higher score.
Yeah, so I'm expecting to.
The one thing about episode 4 that I saw the most negative thing about it, Kiari Mundi and Plo Koon. I didn't see anyone else saying anything.
I don't even think
negative about the episode, other than the fact that whole shenanigan.
I just didn't like the last episode because it was kind of boring.
Yeah. I don't think the Chiari-Mundi thing's a massive deal, because of, once people actually sit and think about it, they go, oh, actually, wait a minute. No,
exactly.
But
in the beginning, it's a big thing until they really sit and think, like, hey,
yeah,
certain things aren't canon anymore. Legends isn't canon anymore. So take that away. If you took away Legends and then you throw them in there, you're like, oh, yeah, it makes sense.
Well, that was a little extreme, Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, that's really extreme. You're basing this on half a show, bro. Half a show. You know something, right? You're entitled to your opinion, but if the second half of this show is an absolute banger, right? I sincerely hope you regret doing that. You cannot base an opinion on 50%.
I'm not getting rid of this.
Throw it in the trash.
Just because I'm not getting rid of this just because I didn't like the Acolyte.
Prime example, one of the most loved characters in recent Star Wars times, Disney character. Baylan Skoll was a fucking goat.
I find it the funniest when people are like, cancel my Disney subscription. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to give
plenty
you
of
my
other stuff you
$10 a
can
month
watch on
anymore. You guys made trash.
You cannot base an
the thing is,
opinion.
at the end of the day, too, is there's going to be people who like certain content that's coming out from Disney.
Yeah.
There are people who's going to hate it. There's people who hate the prequels. People who hate. It's just a revolving door that continues to go. I didn't like Andor. I'll be completely honest. The only thing I liked about Andor, the final 5 seconds of it, and then when I realized, when throughout the episodes when they're in prison, they're building the Death Star. They're building parts of it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what music wise, loved it. Cinematics, loved it. Story, shit. But I'm not gonna sit here like Matt. Did you like Andor?
Yeah, I loved Andor.
Am I gonna give you shit for loving Andor? No. Because guess what?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, somebody else who is a Star Wars fan is still enjoying some form of Star Wars content. Yeah. A lot of people didn't like Obi-Wan. I didn't like the entirety of it, but I love having that closure of me being 14 years old watching Episode 3 and seeing Obi-Wan versus Vader again. That was.
And I didn't particularly care for the Bad Batch, and I know some people loved it.
Exactly.
And Season 3 was great, but 1 and 2 sucked. But it's at the end of the day, that's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get a revolving door of people hating something and saying, I don't want to crap on Anthony saying he canceled the subscription. That's what if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. But at the end of the day, we're gonna have those loves and likes.
This is the thing. We've all seen 100% of those projects. You cannot base an opinion on 50% of the evidence. If that's how the world worked, then we were in a lot of fucking trouble. Especially when it came to like a court of law or something like that, you know? You have to have all the evidence.
And here's another thing that I'm surprised I haven't gotten hate for. The Thrawn trilogy, the books, despised them. Even though 99.9% of the Star Wars community absolutely loves them, I thought they were garbage. But I didn't stop liking Star Wars because I didn't like a couple books.
Exactly. You can't. Is Mark?
Well, they're
Hamill
not canon, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's Mark Hamill, bro. Me and him are tight.
Hey, can I make a quick correlation to what Chris was saying?
Absolutely.
So it's probably a bad correlation, but I think back to when I first got into the lightsaber community and how there was like a someone with an ultra saber or a Disney saber, and people would be like, "Oh, it's absolute trash. Throw it in the bin. Like, what are you doing? You need blah blah blah." And you just look at that like glimmer of love and passion and enjoyment of Star Wars in their eye just disappear, and it's like, you just had to do that because you didn't like the thing that they liked. Yeah. Come on. And it feels a little like that right now with some people.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying
someone could watch someone could watch Acolyte and sit there like, oh, that was so bad. And then let's go somebody from another state over. Wow, that was really good. Somebody's happy.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing with what Elvis was saying. It's just like, guess what? I have, let's go with a Corban Desert Wanderer. Take it to Disney. This shit's awesome. It's great. I'm smiling. I love it. It's bright. It's reactive. Now you have 9-year-old Kevin, who just walked to Savvy's workshop with his own, and he has the exact same face I have looking at mine because you're happy.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. It's like me. You have a Desert Wanderer. I have an WK3 from 89 Sabers.
And it looks just as great.
Yeah. And then you have someone's like, 89 Sabers is garbage. Get rid of that. I'm like, but I bought it off one of my close friends and I love it.
We're all guilty of
I love
it,
what
right?
Isaac said.
Like around like Ultra Sabers and stuff like that. We're all guilty of it, right? I've got a Disney Park saber here that Chris and Elvis bought for me. Is it Profi? No. But I fucking love it, and I've displayed it because
it's Brophy.
It's Brophy, man. It's fucking I love it, and I fucking display it because my fucking friends bought it for me.
$1,300 or something, right? These things are insane
for everything. Yeah.
If you love this, go ahead and love it. Like, this is the best thing ever. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Hey, that's accurate to the
like
show,
a
by the way.
2001 Qui-Gon lightsaber in the car, the old crappy extendable ones.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got one of those in the garage. Still love it. I'm gonna do a video on it.
Exactly. You know,
it's like Freddie Prinze Jr. said it. He goes, "You're just mad that Star Wars isn't aging with you." Because at the end of the day, Star Wars was first created for kids.
Yeah.
New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi.
Maybe not Andor.
Yeah.
Which goes back around to what I said earlier on about the different eras within where we are in time. You know, Like, we're all getting older, but stuff is constantly getting reinvented. The cycle doesn't stop just because we're getting older. You know, there's new filmmakers, there's new storytellers, there's people with different visions, different opinions. The only problem really is, so okay, the Canon police have to really make sure that everything is proper, and especially with a franchise the size of this, the continuation, you know, and everything has to be the way. But just because there's the amount of people I've seen this week which have been horrible fucking things because of the fucking lesbian space, so fucking what? So
I don't even want to
what?
touch that one. That's just the dumbest stuff to.
I'll touch it all fucking day long. They're just fucking jealous because they ain't fucking getting any and they're in their fucking mom's basement.
And they'll just go watch other lesbian videos.
Well, exactly. This is the thing. But you're not fucking wrong. You're not fucking wrong. You know, people really need to have some fucking respect.
What about the two girls who kiss at the end of Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, I brought that up in the episode 1 and 2 stream.
I'd forgotten about that, but yeah,
it's when I saw it happen, I was like, okay. I didn't say.
Well, when I saw it happen, I was like, okay, of course they're gonna put it in because you know.
People need to remember and realize the world.
It low-key hit pretty good though when I saw it. I'm not gonna lie.
Ever-evolving thing. Society is an ever-evolving thing. Do we all perhaps maybe agree with everything in terms of the way society is? No. Do we all have the same views on, you know, politics? No. Do we all have this? So fucking what? What we have though, right, is enough respect for each other to have an adult conversation about shit and agree to disagree, and that's fucking it. We're not gonna fucking Chris, fuck you. You said this, fuck you.
I sure did. What are they? But it's like it's one thing. The way I see it too is like, at the end of the day, this leads to Phantom Menace, which is what I'm wearing it right now. It's my favorite Star Wars movie only because that's the first one I saw in theaters. Okay, so I had that connection to it. People didn't like the Book of Boba Fett. I was stoked to get more Boba Fett, whether the episodes were good or bad. I was stoked to get them no matter what. And Anthony says, what do you think of the CGI Luke Skywalker, the Mandalorian? But that was awesome.
I cry every time I watch that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's at the end of the day, we're getting more content. And at the end of the day, it actually leads up to something that's more sentimental to us. Again, it may not be exactly what we wanted. The script may not be exactly what we wanted, but it's still Star Wars content. There was how many years gap in between the Revenge of the Sith and the Return of the Jedi and Phantom Menace? We had no Star Wars content. Revenge of the Sith came out.
It was like
a long time.
16 years.
And then some people didn't like animation, so they didn't watch Clone Wars. So how long did you have to wait between the Revenge of the Sith to when The Force Awakens came out? How long do we have to wait from Rise of Skywalker for us to get live action other shows?
Here's the thing. You know, going back to Clone Wars real quick. I was one of the people when that movie dropped, and I watched it. I turned it off halfway through. I was like, "What the fuck's this?" Now,
really,
I love it. You know, when that movie dropped in 2008, the Clone Wars movie.
Oh yeah, I thought it was dope.
Right?
That's one with Jabba the Hutt's kid, right?
Yeah. I got halfway through and went, "What the fuck's this?" I turned it off.
I didn't like that movie, and I did not watch the Clone Wars until like 3 or 4 years ago because I didn't like that movie, and I missed so much great stuff because I just based everything on that movie.
I'm not gonna lie, the beginning of Clone Wars is still hard to watch. The animations kind of suck, but like as it got better, like, oh, this is way better. It's way more entertaining. But again, it's all story driven. You know what I mean? We're getting a story here. Let's take away the oh god, I don't even want to say it, the lesbian witches. Take away that. We're getting the possible rise of the Sith coming back.
Yeah,
because they were supposed to be gone for a millennia. Right now, we're getting that rise of them coming back, which is something we found out in episode 1. Again, it all comes together to one cool thing, and I'm just hoping. Again, I swear if he says I'm master and he says Plagueist, that's gonna be worth it for me.
You're good, mate.
This all leads up to Darth Maul saying, "We finally get to reveal ourselves to the Jedi." We finally get to come out of the Sith closet.
Exactly, because it's a plan. That's been their plan the entire time, was to finally reveal themselves after a millennia, which is why Acolyte actually makes sense. As long as it goes down that road to where that conversation that Maul has with Palpatine at that moment, it will all make sense and all connect. Again, the script's gonna suck, whatever, sometimes, but guess what? At the end of the day, as long as the story hits correctly to where it should lead, I'm personally gonna be happy with it. There's some things I disagree about with the show, but I mean, I'm like, all right, cool. If it leads to that, cool. I'm happy.
You know something? See all these people who are dishing shit out to the likes of Elvis, that type of person. I sincerely hope the rest of this show is just banger after banger. Right?
Me too.
Well, I wanted that regardless of the haters, but yeah.
No. But what I'm going to say next is prominent to that. I hope that they sit
trying
there.
to hate the haters.
I, honest to God, hope that they all sit there, right, with their fucking popcorn or whatever it is they fucking snack on, right, mommy's cookies, and I hope they all fucking choke.
Jesus, stop. You're becoming the person you're describing, Sam. Stop it.
No, I don't give a fuck.
You're talking about choking on the Oreos.
Become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Hope to God they all fucking choke and think about their actions over the last fucking several weeks.
Like a force choke?
Yeah. Sam is literally trying to force choke haters right now.
Right? Because here's the thing, man. Doing fucking Sheldon. Here's the thing.
Hi, Sam. I'm a subscriber. He's like, oh, yeah, nice to
Yeah, I'm a subscriber. What's your thoughts on the Acolyte? Fuck off. What Elvis was subjected to, Elvis is not the only one that was subjected to that over the past several weeks, and will not be the only one who's continued to possibly be subjected to that type of behavior over the next several weeks.
And I'm so neutral. It's like, why attack me?
It is
And you didn't even ask, say anything bad about the damn show. You just said, why isn't it Plo Koon? It could have been.
There is absolutely no place and no excuse for that type of behavior towards anyone. You know, and like Mark said earlier on, keyboard warriors. Keyboard warriors. That's all it is. You know, I'm just going to make this person feel like a bag of shit.
Stop, Sam. Sam, you've crossed the line. Stop. You're good.
I've crossed the line?
Yeah, you're getting there. Stop.
I don't think I have, because that's what these people are doing.
No, I understand. And
Sam,
it's wrong.
Sam is turning to the dark side very quickly right now.
No, but this is what I'm saying.
His eyes are changing colors.
These people are
Acolyte.
These people are doing that, right? And it's not on. It's just completely bang out of order, you know? So, yeah.
I feel like Acolyte's getting more hate than the sequels did.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Like, I've never seen so many different articles of... Again, I don't love the show. I don't hate the show. I'm here for the ride, man. I'm here to see... As long as what I want to happen at the end happens, I'm like, oh, that was great. It was worth it. But... the amount
Let me ask you guys a
scrutiny
question.
Is insane.
When people say this is not my Star Wars,
it's not mine, it's ours.
Is it sustainable to have that Star Wars forever? And do you want that Star Wars forever? Is it this is fresh and different, right? I'm not saying it's better. It's different. But can we have the same story forever, or are we going to eventually have to have new things? Like I just feel like as a consumer of television, I just don't want the same thing all the time. Like give me something new. So I'm kind of
refreshed. Not sustainable.
Yeah,
it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable because it's not canon. But nothing's canon anymore. That's the thing that everyone has to kind of step away from. Is it's not canon anymore. That's it. There's nothing we can do about it.
If it was Marvel, you'd be like, oh, it's just that line of comic book. No, it's just that line of comic book. Or no, that's in that universe. But it's not Marvel, it's Star Wars. So everyone's just like, it has to be like this. But like...
but the thing is, Marvel, they've changed things so many times in the movies.
Look at Ragnarok. It was like the exact opposite. It was...
People were like, that's not what's supposed to happen. But I like what they did with it. I'm like... So you're not mad? No, but you're mad about Star Wars.
I think the point that a lot of people miss is that this is a living, breathing, evolving thing, right? We can't continue to get the same stuff time after time after time, because when you do that, people get bored, right? It's not sustainable. It needs to evolve. It needs to expand, you know?
Look at the
And
volume. I got bored with the volume.
Exactly.
And then with this show, the amount of cinematic shots they're getting with all the aerial footage, I'm like, bro, I was invested. I was like, oh, that looks so good.
You know,
We
the volume
get
is
bored very easily.
the volume is great for a period. It still has its uses. It just not everything has to be shot on it. You know, you're bringing back these. What I tell you, one thing that I do love about this show, I love the practical sets.
Oh yeah.
The practical
I love them
sets
so
on
much.
this
It
are just.
it looks so real and it looks like a living planet.
I
They're
may not be a
so-
fan of the story, but the visuals are on point.
Yeah,
That's
and
actually what I'm always excited for.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's a living, breathing, evolving thing. It has to expand. It has to be allowed to grow. And if you don't allow it to grow, and if you stunt its growth, ultimately, the only damage you're doing is really to yourself, because you'll no longer have the very thing that you have that you want. You know. These people who are behaving this way, they need to stop. They can have their opinions. Like, people have opinions. They're entitled to them. You know? But don't run around being a fucking keyboard warrior, fucking making people feel shitty about the thing that they love. That's what I was trying to say earlier on. I wasn't crossing a line or shit. That's what I was saying earlier on.
Yeah,
Don't
he wasn't crossing the line. I'll do it.
Because, my boy. But that's
No, I thought you were about to start kicking people from the chat and stuff for having opinions or something like.
No, I would never do that. But I just think people sometimes need to just calm the fuck down, take a step back and take a breath, and actually open their eyes and realize, wait a minute, I love this franchise, and we're getting content, and there's a lot of kids that won't remember the dark times, as we call them. Like, we all remember them because we fucking lived it. I remember being 8 years old and seeing in the newspaper Star Wars Episode 1 to be released, and fucking I'm like,
dude, you know how cool it was watching it in theaters?
Oh, dude, yeah, that fucking.
I saw that movie at midnight.
Dude.
See, and it's just it gives you that feeling of just brings you back to your childhood, right? And it's just like, oh, that was just so good.
I took Jackson to see it, and for the 25th, just last month. That moment is one of the coolest moments of my life, and this is what I'm so upset about, is there are people. He's really getting into a lot of stuff just now. He is really enjoying Star Wars, right? And thank God he is not of an age yet where he has to, or he chooses to potentially ingest social media, because I don't want this to be ruined for him. I want this to be for him whatever he wants it to be, just exactly the same way that it is for us what we want it to be.
I want it to be like that for me too.
And this is the point I'm trying to get across.
I'm reading here, and Anthony says, I'm just getting sick and tired of people hating on Disney Star Wars. Has Disney been perfect with what they're doing with Star Wars? No.
Nice comment. I like that.
I love this guy.
Not everything is perfect, but how much do you think the Star Wars fan base has grown from when the end of the prequels, right, and then the revival when Force Awakens came out? Was it 2 times, 5 times, or 10 times? Because you go to MegaCon, you go to a celebration, that place is full. They're not all adults. Some of them are kids.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, is if Disney's producing something that's not as good, the fan base has still continued to grow, whether you liked it or not. And that's the most important thing to know. We wouldn't have a Galaxy's Edge. We wouldn't have a continuation of Boba's story. We wouldn't have seen Ahsoka on live action. We would not see Hayden come back after all the crap that he endured from the prequels.
We wouldn't have Ewan returning.
That's what I'm saying.
Jarin.
Yep.
I think Disney The Mandalorian
the stuff always, but we got a lot of really, really cool stuff.
The Mandalorian, I think, is responsible, I would say, for a solid 60 to 70% of. I mean, even one of my best buddies, he's never been a fan of Star Wars. He's never really gotten it. As soon as I said to him, space western, he was like, all right, okay. Watched the first season. Dude, loved it. Watched the second season. Loved it, but there's some stuff I don't understand. Okay, you need to go back and watch this. He went back and watched. Now I get it. Watched the third season. You know, okay, people have their opinions in the third season. I think there's a lot within that season that were leading up to something that was more of a builder season than anything else. Yeah. But this is the thing. It's living and breathing, and it's breathing new life into itself with these new fans. And the Acolyte will do exactly the same. You know,
Mando brought in new life for old fans. People who didn't like the sequels, Mando brought more life into old fans. And a good example is, who all has a Din Djarin helmet? I don't care if it's a Black Series. I do. Yeah. I don't care if someone made it for you. You still have a Mando helmet, and the only reason why you have a Mando helmet is because essentially Mando made Star Wars popular again, which now we have all this content because of it.
Dare I say it? But I think The Mandalorian made Star Wars cool again.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
It absolutely did.
I have my helmet here. I have Grogu down there. My daughter loves Grogu. Watch.
And you know,
Elvis, you have a Mando helmet? See?
Multiple.
You have a Boba Fett helmet? See? Do you think you would have collected all those helmets and actually be really into Star Wars again if it wasn't for Mando? Because we're saying Mando is what ignited old fans again. Because I think the sequels pushed away a lot of fans, but Mando really brought some back.
I think I'm an exception. Like COVID is definitely when, the geek flag was starting to be flown a little higher, right? But I've always been super fanatical, and I probably would have still made the helmets. It's just, but yeah, no, you're absolutely right that Mando brought everyone together. I think Mando plus COVID right after is probably the huge thing.
They worked hand in hand.
And then we're just getting more content. Again, some of it's not the greatest, it's not the best, but I think I can say every live action that we've gotten from Disney ever since Mando season 1, I can pull one thing from every season that I actually liked.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm sure you can pull one thing you didn't like too.
And nothing's going to be perfect, but I can certainly say I'm very happy with this. Done.
But it's like people are like, Cad Bane's face is all wrong. This is terrible. And I'm like,
his hat was too small.
It's not a cartoon.
Come on, man.
But then it comes to Ewan and Hayden and Obi-Wan, and I'm like, all right, come on, they could have de-aged him a little. Like,
I you know what? I don't disagree with that at all. But it was so cool to see them back at those characters.
Yes. Yeah.
It definitely hit that spot again. Yeah. Who thought we were gonna get? I mean, I knew we were gonna get it, but
I'm so happy to see them. They look a little.
The cracked face of, and you could see Hayden's face. You saw Hayden in the back of the tank. I'm like,
and we saw live action Anakin and Ahsoka on screen for the first time.
Again, I'm gonna say it for forever. Yes, Disney didn't make all the perfect stuff, but there's a lot of cool stuff they really did.
Yeah, would you guys? Cool stuff. Here's the question, though, right? Overall, has Disney created more good moments than bad?
Absolutely.
For me, yes.
Well, there you go. Case closed.
I'm not a fan of the sequel movies, but I love Mando. I love Book of Boba Fett. I love Andor. I love
Hey, Kylo in The Force Awakens was kind of cool, though. I'll say that.
Yeah. Okay, I do like The Force Awakens. The other two.
Force Awakens was fun, even though when I realized I was like, this is A New Hope all over again. But this is fun.
I've liked all the shows all the live action shows, even though people don't really like Book of Boba Fett or Andor all that much. I still love them.
Yes, Isaac, I 100% agree.
So, question: did they create a lot of bad moments or whatever? But okay, can a really bad moment outdo a bunch of okay moments, and can a really good moment outdo a bunch of bad stuff? Like, can it make up for it? Because if you look at Luke's hallway scene, Maul's hallway scene, Vader's hallway scene, Balin's hallway scene, What else do we got? Rebels. I'm just going to throw all of Rebels in. Like, Disney did a ton. Like, actually, Rebels, was that Disney? I don't know if that was Disney at that point.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
I think that was the first thing that they did.
It was on
'Cause
Disney
they were
XD, yeah.
Because they were still in the middle of Clone Wars when they took it over. So that was
Yeah.
like their first like full solo thing, I think.
Like when you
Yeah.
say, when you
The
think what are your
Inquisitors
10 most
did?
favorite moments in Star Wars, I bet a few of those come from Disney.
I honestly, I would say probably a good 40%. Yeah,
There's been
40,
several
50%.
Disney Star Wars moments that have made me very, very emotional. And Rebels is definitely one of those shows that does it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think we all know what scene I'm talking about.
We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Disney Star Wars. Just saying.
Yeah, well, exactly.
This whole thing right here.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have met you, beautiful bastards.
Yeah.
Credit card
Made
debt,
so many new
friendships.
So true.
I made
I
many
think-
awesome friends because of it.
One of the main points I wanted to make tonight, obviously, it's been a very divisive show so far. And obviously, Elvis, I'm sorry to obviously hear, mate, that you were kind of jumped on.
Yeah.
I
I didn't.
don't-
react.
I know you wouldn't have, man, but it's not right. I think people just need to remember what it is they're talking about, right? And people need to remember first and really and truly how to behave. You wouldn't behave like that out in society. So it's not an excuse to hide behind a phone or a tablet or a keyboard and behave like that online. So,
May I read something?
absolutely you can.
Okay, so you guys probably all read this and liked it, but anyway, one of the basic concepts of human nature is personal responsibility. You either take responsibility for what you're doing or you do not. But to deny that you have anything to do with the world, that you don't influence it in any way is ridiculous. We all influence the world. We all teach. Some of us have larger voices than others, but everybody teaches every day of their lives. And everything you teach, you are responsible for. I have a very loud voice, and therefore I take it very seriously that whether you're influencing one person or a million people, the burden of responsibility still exists upon the individual. That was said by George Lucas.
I like it. See?
I feel like that kind of, especially the YouTubers, and you know who I'm talking about. Like, there are some people out there that are just like, nope, that's wrong. And I'm like, you have a million people watching you. Why are you?
Yeah.
I
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Well, there's one YouTuber that we all know. I'm not going to say his name just in case. He does reviews while he watches the show, and every time he says, "Hey, this ain't for me. If you like it, great."
And that's in
good
my
if you do.
opinion, it's the appropriate way to do it. But everything that Elvis has just said is completely spot on. It's we all do YouTube or social media to a certain degree, and it's one of those things where, let's take Sebastian for example. He's pretty fond of episode 8. A lot of us aren't, but does he do we shit all over him? No, because it's not it's not. If he loves it and he gets something from it, more power to him.
I mean, I don't really know him that well, so I can't shit on him for it anyway. So
I'm happy and my friend's happy.
Well, exactly. Boom. Exactly. Right. We all have a degree of responsibility in life as grown ass fucking adults, as to control the message that we send out into the ether. And because if we're sitting there and we're talking shit and we're acting a specific way towards a person, or it doesn't really matter who it is, but just a person in general, and a kid sees that and they think, oh, it's okay to talk shit online. I mean, it's just not the right message to put across. No matter.
It does get views, it gets viewers, it gets clicks. I get about that part of it, but yeah, I mean, just
my opinion, it's for all the wrong reasons though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It's okay to be divisive, a little bit of clickbait. never hurt anyone, you know. But as long as you clarify,
Most realistic lightsaber ever.
That's the title of my next video.
don't think I've ever used that one yet. I don't think I have. But see, as long as at the end of the day you clarify, look, this ain't for me, like, you know, like Chris said, but if you get something from it, then sweet, I'm happy for you. That's the way it should be, you know. So no matter kind of really what happens with this show going forward, I just really kind of hope that people start to just calm down a little bit, because the stuff that's some of the things that are being said, it's not good, and it really scares me in terms of how society is now, you know. But at the same time, it's like, you know, 9.9999999 times out of 10, that person wouldn't say that to your face. So, no, the amount of times I have been subjected to some crap, and we all have, and I've like seriously asked myself the question, why do I do this? Why do I subject myself to that? I can walk away from this at any fucking point. I love doing this. I love reviewing sabers. I love hanging out with my friends. I love meeting new people, forging relationships, you know, bonding with people. Like, honestly, guys, like, to anyone who's watching, these three cats that are in here with me right now, these are three of my best fucking friends. And it's as simple as that.
Same.
We're all over the world, but they are literally three of my fucking best friends. They are three people who, when I get married eventually, will be invited to the wedding. Whether they can make it or not is up to them, because it's a long
I am an
way.
ordained minister.
But this is what I'm saying. I choose to do this.
I would so love to watch Matt marry you guys.
Absolutely.
I'm there.
Dressed as a Jedi or something.
Right, but the point I'm getting to is I do this because I love this. Is it frustrating at times? Yes, but so is life. You know, do you get a bit down on yourself at times because of the things that some people might say? Yes, but so is life. You know, and I'm not going to give shit up just because people want to be fucking wise asses and try and, you know, tear you down a level because they're unhappy with their own life and they're bored in their fucking mum's basement. Like, that's a generalization, obviously, but that's how
my parents' basement. Thank you very much.
I like that though.
Yeah, but you're cool. You're not an asshole, Matt.
Most of the time, anyway.
You're not an asshole. You're not one of that crew. It's okay to still stay at home with your parents, but just don't be that guy, right? But what I'm saying is those people don't fucking matter. They don't matter, you know. And I'll be honest with you right now. I've got 5,500 subscribers, right? If all 5,500 of my subscribers were that person, and they all hit unsubscribe, I wouldn't give a fuck, because that's just not who I want.
I'm going to now. I'm just kidding.
Because that's just not who I want to be around. That's not who I want to be producing content for. You know?
Yeah.
Simple as that. So, yeah, there, I said it. I love you guys. Shut up.
You can send them my way though. You can absolutely do that. I don't.
Oh
care.
yeah, absolutely. Just I'll send it to y'all. But that's just not who I want to make content. I want to make content for people who appreciate what we have and what we're getting. That's, you know, and that's it. And I want to make content for people who feel the same way about Star Wars as I do. And get the same things from Star Wars that I get. I got a lot of life lessons from Star Wars, you know. So,
Kiss your sister.
Apart from that one,
this room that I'm sitting in right now, this is the room that I first saw Star Wars.
Really, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. When I was like 5 or 6, watching it with my 2 older brothers.
That's neat.
See, it's that, man. You know, last September, that photograph, Elvis. Obviously, you paid that day to get the photographs and all done at Galaxy's Edge. I look at that photograph when we went to Hollywood Studios, and you.
Oh yeah,
what's
that like?
You were like, well, you'll find out this year, bro. But we get the photographs done, didn't we? We get all the photographers took our photos as a group.
Yeah, photo pass.
I look at that all the time.
Mhm.
There's pretty much nearly every day I'll look at that photograph or the Last Supper one.
Yeah, lots
You
of them
know?
is good too.
That
Like,
one is
when I-
hilarious. That
when
one
I'm-
would never get old.
Do
when
they have
I'm
pizza in
feeling-
Scotland?
Yeah, you see, this is what I'm saying. When I'm feeling proper shitty, that's the stuff that I pull up. You know, pictures of my son, pictures of my family, pictures of my friends. You know, like.
But we have the
That's-
best
that's-
photo, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
this
dude,
entire
you-
group wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for Disney Star Wars. Just saying.
Correct. Correct.
Someday
That's what
I
I'm
hope to
saying.
be in one of those group photos.
Hell yeah, dude.
Get your ass
Same.
to Florida, bro. Come on, Chris. Come on, dude. I mean, I've got a photograph in here of Ryan and Jesse and Chris and myself. I've got a photograph on the wall in my hallway of Chris and I in a fucking random hotel bar. Just
Just saying, I
You
am
know?
planning on going to Galaxy's Edge in Florida for Star Wars night next year. So
Say it again.
just so you all know, if y'all want to make plans, I am planning on going with a couple of my friends to Galaxy's Edge in Florida for May the 4th next year.
Nice.
I don't know what's. I'm kind of waiting to see what's happening with that as well because I know that's very, very close to the back end of Celebration in Japan.
I'm definitely not going to make that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm
It's a
not gonna
month
make that
after.
either.
Yeah, it's a month afterwards. I'm not going, but I could potentially make either Florida or Cali for a couple of days for Star Wars night, depending on what the plans are.
Yeah, if I did, it
So-
would have to be really limited because I promised my wife I wouldn't do that trip next year. So we'll see.
Oh,
Sometimes I can twist her arm a little. Not
but
often.
hun, Sam's coming from Scotland.
Yeah, she's like, you move that
Hotels,
way.
hotels alone in Japan, Sebastian and I are down about $1,400 total, and that's just room. That's three
Oh.
different hotels, not including what we're gonna do for Disney, not including for food, not for travel. So
It's a spendy trip.
yeah, but you know what? I spent more in London, to be honest.
Japan's a beautiful country, though.
Oh, I can't wait.
Stunning. I'm gutted that I'm not going, but I'll be honest with you. I'm putting the money that I would have put into that into a trip to Florida for Jax. You know, because he's bugging the hell out of me. Like, when we're gonna go to Galaxy's Edge? I'm like you're 5, you're 6
My
this year,
kids
you're
make me
7
feel
next
so
year.
terrible when they're like, "Oh, you're going to Disney World again without us?" Okay, like,
Oh, I
Oh,
still
yeah,
told
I don't
mine.
have that
I didn't tell mine. I was like, I gotta go for the weekend. Where you going? Don't worry about it. I
Where
got
you
your
going?
shirt.
Nunya.
You know,
I got your
Jackson's
shirt.
starting
Like,
to do that.
You went to Disneyland. I'm like, yeah.
I
don't have
the
kids, so I don't have
conversation-
that problem.
I had the conversation with Jax a few weeks ago. After May 4th dropped, obviously, with the new Galaxy's Edge stuff. And because the holocrons and stuff, they're his, but when I'm doing videos, I'll bring them in and put them in the background and stuff, you know. And I forgot to put them back in his room a couple of weeks back, and he was like, "Dad, where are my holocrons and my kyber crystals?" I'm like, "Shit." He's like, "I said I just borrowed them for a video. It's fine. You really need to get your own ones." I'm like, "Fucking hell, I'm getting lectured from a 5-year-old." And I made the mistake. I was like, "Well, listen, Dad's going to go back to Florida in September, so there's new ones out. So I'll pick those up, right? Because they're not a lot of money. They're like $50." And he's like, "You're going back to
again?"
Disney without me?" And I'm like, "Ah, fuck."
Yeah, been there, had that conversation. That's not
Yeah.
fun.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ditch Japan. You know, as much as I would have loved to have seen Japan and spent again more time with everyone and do a celebration abroad, I kind of want to, you know, ride the Millennium Falcon with my son a bit more. You know, like,
And
which
that's
I
more
think's
important.
fair. Well, I think it's a fair trade.
Yeah.
You know,
Unless you're me, I don't want to ride that ride again.
you're riding it with me in September, bro. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
This
you are.
last time, nope.
Nah, we're doing it.
Not a
bumpy.
good time.
We're doing
I have
it.
that one on video. I should send it to you.
I was sweating because I wanted to throw up so bad.
We're doing it. And I'm
I
going
was
to
like,
fly. And I'm going to have that thing all over the place. Come on.
At one point, we jumped to light speed, and I was like, "Bleh!"
It was like Sebastian on Tron. I was sat right next to him. He was fine the whole ride, and then
Oh.
it stopped. And he was like,
That's how it was for what was it? What we're on? Not Space Mountain. Hyperspace Mountain. Yeah. We're coming through, and then me and Elvis was like, yeah. Oh. Good times.
Love
good
the guy.
times.
So good. But
I sense Sam's about to cut this stream, so I feel like I have to ask this question quick.
ask the question.
Am I sensing right, Sam?
Yeah,
I'm
you are.
gonna go ahead and say
yeah.
yes.
It's 2:10. Yeah, I'm going to cut shortly. Yeah, but 5
How
minutes.
sad are we that this didn't make it into the show?
I'm so
Because
sad.
This concept is so much
It
better
looks
than
so
every
good.
fucking saber on the show. I've decided I'm going to make a video on this just so I can be like, the Lost Acolyte, what Acolyte should have been.
It's funny. As soon as you posted that story, I immediately went on the Saber Army just to look for it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's not
That's
too bad.
such a cool saber.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
they are nice. They are nice. Yeah.
But then I also want a graphics from them because
Switches, the
AJ's
leather.
was sick.
I mean, the Acolyte that I have, it really can't compete with that. However,
Oh, yeah, that one is cool too. And it's better than anything in the show.
Jackson has claimed this. It's so
That is
dinky
a
and
cool
small, right? And it's just the way it's been machined. You know, I just do wish though that they could have made this rocker the Switch, and it just wasn't a decorative piece. But yeah,
I don't have
This
an
is
Acolyte, but I
my
have
Acolyte.
this.
You bitch.
I don't have one either, and I don't want to pull one out.
I went onto AZ Saber's website just to check to see what they had left, and they only have Golden Harvest, and I was like, no.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Oh, what?
Did you guys talk about the Magneto entrance by Toothy yet? The way he floated down.
That was dope.
Yeah,
thought
we
it
did
was
earlier on. Yeah, a little
Dooku
bit.
did it in animated series.
Trilla did it in
In Jedi Fallen Order, she did it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
It was
canon. It's okay. now.
it was the way it was done though, right? Because May had her back to it, and it just you seen it in the.
It was
was all
so
out of-
good.
It was all out of focus, and you seen just coming down, and
Very
then,
horror
you
film.
know,
I loved it.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
music
they were
and the
like-
music behind it, I was like, oh my god, this is great.
telling you, man,
yeah.
they are
That's
following
why the last
wi-
15 seconds of that episode were awesome.
they are following the Wes Craven mixture here, like the recipe. I'm telling you, real quick though, before we do cut this, how powerful is this Sith?
Seems
Dude,
powerful.
He did one hand and knocked what? Was it 7 of them? No, he didn't knock them back. They flew back.
I mean, two
Flew.
fingers, and May
With
went bye bye,
He just went like this.
and then he
she
went
flew,
like this.
and then they're all just
Yeah, you see
Wow.
Soul like fly, flung
Yeah.
through the air.
The one thing I hope, I'll say this before we go, is I want this, whatever he is, Sith, whatever who he is, as powerful as he seems, I don't want him to die with one swipe. I want something to make him feel like a serious threat. Because
Yeah.
if this is the moment that, exactly what Maul said, you know, finally they get to reveal themselves. And this is the plan that begins that moment they reveal themselves. This guy has to be a serious threat.
I want to see some.
And I really hope he is.
I want to see some Revenge of the Sith style lightsaber battle.
Same. This is only X amount of years prior to episode 1. The
Yeah.
choreography has to be on point.
Quick one though. Going
I hope
back
they just
to-
hold their saber out and he ends up lightning himself and he blows up, like with Ray.
Going back to real quick though. I don't know who said it earlier on about the shot with the helmet lying on the ground.
Yeah.
What if the helmet isn't taken off? What if we get a Jango Fett moment and the head's taken off with the helmet still
The
on?
character standing behind the helmet, though, I think, in that shot. So, I mean, it could be that it's just body hasn't fallen yet, but maybe.
I hope
Guess
not.
we'll find out.
Well, we will find out. We will find out Tuesday.
I mean,
for
the
sure.
show begins with a dead body next to their lightsaber. It'd be kind of funny to end it with a dead body next to their helmet. I don't know.
Well, I think we're going to get that shot in the next episode because I think it's still in the same area.
So you think the helmet's going to come off in the next episode and we're going to know who it is for the remainder of the show?
I think so. I think because we're now leading into the back half of this. We need to try and think like a writer here, right? We're leading into the back half of the show. This is a massive moment within the entire show, right? So there's one of, like I said earlier on, there's one of two things that could happen here. The first one is a reveal with a defeat, or a reveal and then a flee. So either A, we're chasing this person down
to
for the rest
abandon
of
ship.
I hope all the Jedi die.
exactly.
Except for Soul.
Or
Except for
B,
No,
or
Soul too.
B, this one gets the chop and we're now in pursuit of the master. I think May's going to turn, though. I think May's going to stand on the side of the Jedi if that happens. And I think her and her sister are going to work together.
I wouldn't mind that.
You can tell that her allegiances lie with her sister and not with the Sith.
I wouldn't mind that. It's just low key. I want everybody to die, and the only reason why I do is because you can't. If the cover up happens, you can't continue the cover up with 7 Jedi who saw someone with a red lightsaber continue on to season 2 without telling anybody.
At the pace they're going, Sith won't be dead till the end of season 6. Like,
it's like imagine that 6 seasons of a cover up. I'm like, oh my, everyone knows now. Like, unless it's one of those things that you don't talk about type thing.
I think you're going to have a situation where most of the Jedi die. I think, is it Yord? I think the way that he's been kind of overshadowed by Jecki quite a lot. I think she's done for. I think he's going to have his moment of, not redemption, but his moment of like proving his worth a little bit, because I think he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah,
but I think they all will, and I think the last one standing is going to be Saul. But then we're going to have the appearance of more Jedi in the next episode as well. There's going to be, it's about Venestra.
and we know we get the light whip.
We know
which
we're going
one's
to get that.
Venestra?
Green girl.
Okay.
So we know we're going to get her. There's going to be a little bit of backup. Will it be a cavalry has arrived moment? I don't know. But I don't know. There's definitely a lot more like, oh, okay, now we're getting into some really interesting stuff. But I'm telling you right now, if it turns out that this Sith person is Chimere, then I'm going to become the very thing that I swore to destroy. But no, I honestly, guys, like I said to you, 2 weeks ago when we done episodes 1 and 2, from what I've been told, episode 5 changes everything. They expected a backlash from episodes 1 through 3, but 4 was the turning point. 5 is going to change the complete series with multiple twists, is what I've been told. So
I hope it's everything you've described and more, because I really want to like this show.
Dude, I'm enjoying the show in terms of the plot line. The dialogue is at times iffy, but the plot and the story, I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the visuals, but if it's going to go the way that I think it's going to go, then I think everyone is going to be like, oh shit, actually this show's shit hot.
Like, I like the first 2 episodes. 3 and 4 weren't my thing, but like the visuals always have been on point. I really want something amazing to happen next episode to grab me and pull me back in.
I want another Yord shot with no shirt on. I'm like, let's do it. Yep.
Yeah,
I like it.
Just steaming that fucking robe for like 20 years, bro.
I want him just do a Goku, rip that shit off, and just fight like that. You got it.
I want him to go Super Saiyan.
Before we wrap it up, just a quick one. We are at the halfway, so halfway season scores, whatever you want to say. Chris,
that's tough.
You're real busy, dude. You got time to make all these little graphics and shit.
Put a lot of time in my hands.
4.5.
4
Right
point.
now.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Stronger than what I thought it was going to be. To be fair.
like I said, it's a lot goes into a show. It's not just the plot, right? So when you throw in the music, you throw in the visuals, you throw in everything, the score changes because you can't just say, "Oh, it's a 2." Like, so why was it 2? The story sucked. Okay, what about the visuals? Oh, they were great, so it can't be a 2.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? There's so much that goes into a score, and so overall, I think the visuals are ridiculously great. I give visuals a 10. I love what they've done with the visuals. I love the they're not using just the volume. I love seeing the Trade Federation, the very first episode. They looked amazing. The puppetry in their mouths look great.
Yep.
But with all that, you know, I'll give those, the music and everything, 8, 9, 10. Everything I'm gonna get 8, 9, 10. But once you throw in the story, that's kind of, you know, that's gonna bring it down. So I'm stuck between 4.5 and 5 just because of that.
I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah. The only reason I'm doing this is because we'll revisit this in 4 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Matt,
Shit.
where are you at?
I'm gonna have to agree with Chris on this. I'm solid 5 for me, but just because I didn't really particularly care for the story for the last 2 episodes, visuals have been fantastic. The action scenes in the first 2 episodes were amazing, but story and dialogue is just kind of killing it for me.
Elvis?
I've been super neutral. I've been a 5. I'd say I'm probably up to a 6 because I'm excited at this point to see the next few episodes. Like, I've kind of been like, oh, it better do this, and now I'm like, all right, I'm excited to see what they give me. I've released the preconceived notions, and I'm just excited to see what they're going to do. So I'm up to a 6 at this point.
I would tend to kind of agree. I'm kind of like a 6.5 for the reasons of the only negatives for me with the show so far is some of the dialogue and the scripting has been a little bit iffy, but I can live with that. I feel it's a very, very strong plot. I just feel that way. But then I love like thriller shows and horrors and all that kind of stuff. The way, first of all, the first 2 episodes introducing all the characters, introducing the players to the chess game as such, right? We've got a lot of background on some of the relationships between characters. I thought that was solid. Into episode 3, okay, again, entertainment wise, all right, not anything fabulous, but in terms of character growth and background, especially for the girls, wonderful. We get to see what went down. We get to see the whole backstory of the 4 Jedi, why those 4 Jedi are the ones that are being targeted. The Witch's Coven, interesting to see what the story might kind of maybe produce with them in terms of a little bit more background on them. I'm kind of on the fence with it. However, I can live with it. In terms of the way they're doing everything with this Sith character, they're following a horror structure here. They're following this misdirection and leading you down an alleyway and then having you turn this way. That's a dead end, so you need to go back that. And I love that. I was always a massive Wes Craven fan, and it's making me almost feel like I'm watching something that was, when it gets to those parts at least, almost kind of directed by or written by him. Especially with, May walking into Kilnaka's place and he's lying in the chair and he's still smoking and embering, The reveal of the Sith floating down. I mean, some of the cinematography has been amazing. Some of the shots have just been so strong. I
wonder how bad burnt Wookiee hair smells like.
Oh, probably terrible.
Okay.
I didn't see a shower there either, just saying.
I'll go and lightsaber the dog and I'll tell you. But
Bring my
like, Kylo, come here. Yeah, no, it's just real. 2 seconds.
I can't. Where's my dog?
Nope. Well, yeah, no, just that's the strong points for me. Is the visuals or the sets are amazing. You know, I'm loving the wardrobe. I'm just loving this. I'm loving more of this than I'm disliking. So I'm gonna go with right now a solid 6.5, but based on some of the stuff that I know and what I'm expecting to be a solid 7.5 or 8 in 3 weeks time, 4 weeks time. So
I hope so. I really hope so.
I'm just loving the horror aspect of it, though. The way everything, like that reveal, that floating down, you know, out of focus, May had her back to the person. They're all like kind of looking like going, you know, May behind you. You know, it was like a theater moment. You know, he's behind you. You know, like I love that. I just love that.
I can't get over that gesture. Just
again.
That happened in the Jedi Fallen Order with Vader.
Yeah,
he just
and
threw
Snoke done it as well.
Yeah,
Snoke done it as well with Rey. You know, just all this. This is a powerful person. You know, and the thing that I'm awarding the 0.5 for is because we have more questions than answers, and that's a sign of a good show. You know, Kamir's too obvious at this stage. If it turns out it is him, I'm going to downgrade to a 2 immediately. But like, you know, this is why I like the whole Scream aspect of it, because they're using that formula. They're using the formula of misdirect. You know, Matt, you need to watch those movies, bro. You watch those movies and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't want
to. I'm telling you. Honestly, like
if I watch those movies, like, I'm gonna have to watch like all the Disney movies after that.
Perfect.
Get my Squishmallow off the TV stand. Snuggle with that.
Dude, I watch horror movies with headphones on, so I hear everything.
Dude, it's a lot about Courtney Cox. Come on, it's Monica, for crying out loud. Like, you know, nice.
And yes, obviously, I have a bat Squishmallow.
That's for me. That's it. You know, they're following a formula that I'm familiar with and that I love, and so the 0.5 comes from that. So, but yeah, I don't disagree with anything that anyone said. You know, I'm just hoping that we're sitting here this time next week losing our fucking shit in the right way.
I hope so.
Yeah,
what do I?
It better not be Jedi Poirot. Do you guys get Poirot in the States?
No.
David Suchet? No. Oh, it's Hercule Poirot. He's a detective. Takes place. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the movie series with what's his fuck?
There was a movie series, but there was a TV series, a long-running TV series with David Suchet. He's a really well-known actor.
You said sushi, and now I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too, bro. Don't worry. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's great, man. Anyway, guys, we are going to wrap it up. So thank you to Chris, Matt, and Elvis for their time again this week. I do hope to be back next week. I can't foresee. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I might get yelled at next week. We'll see what happens.
There's no more time off that I require to take. I do have one day next week where I'm primarily engaged, but yeah, as it stands, we will be back next week looking at episode 5 of The Acolyte. And based on certain conversations, I may have a giveaway announcement as well. So we'll hopefully wait and see what happens with that.
It's rigged.
But, it's rigged. Yeah, my dog's going to win the next one. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us as always. And we'll see you all next week. Cheerio.
Bye.
Well, Sam killed me with that last one.